The ancients whispered a truth into the very stones of time, a secret carried on the wind and echoed in the silence between heartbeats. They said that the world you perceive outside of you is but a mirror, a vast, crystalline reflection of the world that exists within you. Have you ever stopped, truly stopped in the rushing current of your life to ask what image you are casting upon that mirror? What story is being told in its depths? For many, the reflection is one of struggle, of endless effort, of a deep and quiet ache for something more, something that remains just beyond the grasp. We have been taught to chase, to strive, to build, to conquer. We have been told that the door to our desires must be battered down with force and willpower. And so, we push, we strain, we exhaust our spirit against a door that was never locked. We simply forgot that there is a different way to enter. There is an invisible law that governs all of creation, a principle far more subtle and profound than mere effort. It is not the law of forcing, but the law of alignment. It is not the law of taking, but the law of receiving. It is the law of synchronization. Everything in this universe, from the grandest galaxy to the smallest particle of dust, vibrates. It hums with a unique frequency. Your thoughts, your feelings, your deepest beliefs, they are not silent. They are a broadcast, a constant energetic signal sent out into the cosmos. The question is not whether you are broadcasting, but what frequency you are tuned to. Are you broadcasting the frantic noise of lack or the serene hum of wholeness? This journey we are about to embark upon is not about learning a new set of techniques to manipulate your reality. It is an unlearning, a returning. It is a process of deep internal recalibration. We will not be adding more to your already burdened mind. Instead, we will be creating space. We will gently peel back the layers of noise, the static of conditioning, the illusion of separation that has kept you feeling disconnected from your own power. This is an invitation to step out of the battle and into the dance, to discover that you do not need to shout to be heard by the universe. You only need to find your true note, your authentic resonance, and allow the world to harmonize with you. This is a journey not of doing, but of becoming so aligned with the peace, the joy, the abundance you seek, that its arrival is no longer a surprise, but a simple, natural homecoming. So breathe. Let go of the need to understand it all right now. Simply allow yourself to be here and to listen. The first note is about to be played. Just for a moment, set aside everything you think you know. Set aside the deadlines, the worries, the endless lists that scroll through your mind. Let the sounds of your world fade into the background. And listen deeper, not with your ears, but with the full attention of your being. Beneath the rumble of traffic, beneath the chatter of voices, beneath the rhythm of your own breathing, there is something else. A current of silence, a field of profound stillness. And within that stillness, if you are patient, you will begin to perceive it. A hum, a subtle, pervasive, and unending vibration. This is the great hum of the universe. It is the first note, the final note, and every note in between. It is the song of creation itself. The star in the furthest galaxy does not struggle to shine. It radiates. The seed buried in the dark earth does not fight to become a tree. It unfolds. The ocean does not strive to create waves. It breathes. There is an intelligence, a current of effortless power that flows through all things, guiding the dance of existence without force, without anxiety, without doubt. This intelligence operates on a single, elegant principle: resonance. Not effort, not merit, not worthiness, simply resonance. Every single thing in existence, from the most solid mountain to the most fleeting thought, is energy. A field of energy vibrating at a specific and unique frequency. This is not mystical conjecture. It is the bedrock of the reality you inhabit. You, in your very essence, are not just a body, not just a mind. You are a frequency. You are a note in this grand cosmic symphony. This is where the great misunderstanding of our lives has taken root. We have come to believe that we are separate from the orchestra, that we are a lone musician who must play loud enough, fast enough, and skillfully enough to be heard. We believe we must convince the conductor, the universe, to play the song we want to hear. And so we spend our lives in a state of desperate performance. We try to play the notes of abundance, but our instrument is tuned to the frequency of lack. We attempt the melody of love, but our strings are tightened with the tension of fear. We long for the harmony of peace, but we are producing the chaotic noise of a restless mind. We play our frantic, dissonant tune and wonder why the rest of the orchestra does not join in. Imagine this. The universe is a grand concert hall, infinitely vast and acoustically perfect. The conductor is the very consciousness that animates all life. And for every desire your heart can possibly conceive, there exists a symphony. There is a symphony of perfect health, a symphony of deep, fulfilling love, a symphony of effortless prosperity, a symphony of creative genius. The sheet music for these compositions is not hidden or locked away. It is available to everyone, hanging invisibly in the air of the great hall. It is woven into the fabric of potential itself. You are a musician seated in this hall. Your instrument is your own being, your entire energetic state. When you desire something, you are simply feeling a longing to participate in one of these symphonies. The fatal error is to believe that the way to join in is through action born of discord. We see the musicians playing the symphony of prosperity and we think, I must run over there and do what they do. I must grab their instrument. I must work harder, faster, longer. But this action comes from the vibrating belief that I am not prosperous. You are playing the clashing notes of lack and trying to force your way into a harmony that does not contain those notes. It is a vibrational impossibility. The conductor, the universe, cannot hear your request because it is deaf to words. It is blind to your struggle. It responds to only one thing, the music you are actually producing. It can only reflect your resonance. If you are vibrating with the frantic energy of chasing, the universe can only provide you with more experiences of chasing. If you are humming the low, anxious frequency of worry, the universe will dutifully arrange circumstances that give you more to worry about. It is not punishing you. It is not judging you. It is simply a perfect mirror, a flawless echo. It is the law. The true work, then, is not to chase the symphony. The work is to tune your instrument. This is the great secret. You do not need to write the music. It is already written. You do not need to convince the orchestra. It is already playing. You need only to sit still, in your own chair, and begin the patient, sacred work of tuning. You stop looking outside of yourself for the answer. You turn your attention inward. You listen, not to the cacophony of the world, but to the faint, beautiful melody of the symphony you wish to join. You ask yourself, what does peace feel like in the body? What is the emotional texture of absolute certainty? What is the inner climate of unconditional love? You use your imagination not as a tool for worry, but as a tuning fork. You feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled, as the great sage Neville Goddard taught. You hold that feeling, that frequency, within you, not for a fleeting moment, but until it becomes your default state of being. You marinate in it. You let it saturate every cell. This is not a passive act. It is the most potent action you can possibly take. As you begin to hold this new vibration, something miraculous happens. You begin to change your note. At first, it might be faint, wavering, easily drowned out by old habits of thought. But you persist. You return to the feeling. You return to the inner hum of your desire made real. And as your note becomes clearer, stronger, and more stable, the law of resonance begins to work. The symphony of love, which was always playing, begins to notice a new instrument playing in its key. The musicians of that symphony turn their heads. The conductor smiles. The universe, which is nothing but responsive energy, begins to rearrange itself to match your new song. The people, the ideas, the opportunities, the resources that are part of that symphony begin to flow towards you, not because you chased them, but because you became vibrationally magnetic to them. You did not run to the music came to you. This is the meaning of synchronization. It is the end of the exhausting paradigm of effort and the beginning of the elegant reality of alignment. Think of a flock of birds turning in the sky as one, a school of fish moving in perfect unison. There is no leader shouting orders. There is a shared field of consciousness, a collective resonance that allows for harmonious, instantaneous movement. Your task is to join that field, to stop being the lone, struggling bird fighting against the wind and to instead tune into the subtle currents that guide the entire flock. So, for now, let go of the how. The how is the business of the conductor. Your business is the what. What is the feeling tone of your desire? Can you quiet yourself enough to feel it? Can you value that internal state more than you value the evidence of your outer world? This is the first step, the most crucial step. It is the act of choosing your frequency. It is the decision to stop producing the noise of struggle and to begin, however faintly at first, to hum the note of your highest calling. It is a gentle, internal alignment. But as you are about to discover, there is a powerful force within us that resists this alignment, a loud, persistent static that attempts to drown out the beautiful music we are trying to tune into. This static is the sound of your own mind, and learning to quiet it is the next step on our journey. You have felt the hum of the universe. You have sensed the symphony playing just beyond the veil of the ordinary world. And in that moment of recognition, a new voice immediately speaks up. It is loud, insistent, and familiar. It says, "All right, I understand." Resonance, frequency. Now what do I need to do? What is the 5-step plan? How can I optimize my vibration? How quickly can we achieve this? Let's make a chart. Let's set a schedule. This voice, this frantic strategist, this tireless problem solver, this is the noise. This is the very static that jams the signal. We are speaking of the trying mind. It is the aspect of your consciousness that has been trained from birth to believe that your survival and success depend entirely on your ability to figure everything out, to control every variable, and to force every outcome through sheer, relentless effort. It is the ghost in the machine that has appointed itself the chief executive of your existence, and it never, ever rests. This noise is not a gentle background murmur, it is a cacophony. It manifests as the obsessive need to analyze the past, searching for clues and mistakes, replaying conversations and events in an endless loop of regret or grievance. It projects itself into the future, creating intricate branching scenarios of potential failure and disaster, all in the name of being prepared. It is the inner commentator that offers a non-stop critique of your every action. You're not meditating correctly. That was a negative thought. You've ruined it. You felt good for a moment, but it won't last. It is the voice of comparison, constantly measuring your inner journey against the perceived success of others, creating a feeling of being behind in a race that does not exist. The trying mind believes that value is inextricably linked to struggle. It is deeply suspicious of ease. It distrusts grace. If a solution appears without agonizing effort, the mind flags it as a trick or a fluke. It believes that the door to abundance is a heavy, stone gate that must be shouldered open, and it cannot comprehend that it might be a curtain of light waiting for you to simply walk through. Let us use this image. Your soul, your true being, is a magnificent and perfectly constructed ship. It is built from the finest materials, inherently buoyant, and equipped with a silent, flawless inner compass that is eternally locked onto your highest good. This ship is designed to navigate the vast ocean of life with grace and power. The ocean itself, the universe, has its own currents, its own wisdom, which will always guide you toward your destination if you allow it. Now, in the wheelhouse of this great ship stands a captain. This captain is your trying mind. And the captain is in a state of perpetual panic. He does not trust the ship's design. He does not believe in the inner compass. He is terrified of the ocean and its unpredictable nature. When the seas are calm, the captain is still anxious. He is constantly checking the weather reports, polishing the knobs, and reviewing the logs of past voyages where things went wrong. He believes his vigilance is what keeps the ship safe. When a storm inevitably arises, challenge in your life, an uncertain captain's panic escalates into full-blown hysteria. While the great ship is designed to rise and fall with the waves, perfectly capable of weathering the storm, the captain believes it is sinking, and so he begins to try. He wrenches the wheel back and forth, attempting to steer against every single wave, exhausting himself and putting a terrible strain on the rudder. This is your mind in overdrive, endlessly strategizing, overthinking every decision. He blasts the foghorn relentlessly, a shrieking cry of fear and distress. This is the sound of your worry, your complaining, your constant affirmation of the problem. He abandons the compass and instead pulls out old, tattered maps of dangerous waters he has navigated before, convinced that the only way forward is through routes he already knows, even if they led to shipwreck in the past. This is your mind clinging to limiting beliefs and past traumas, projecting them onto your present reality. The crew, your body, your energy, your life force, becomes utterly exhausted by the captain's frantic commands and the violent, erratic movements of the ship. The journey, which was meant to be a grand voyage of discovery, becomes a terrifying ordeal of survival. The most tragic part of this story is that the captain genuinely believes he is saving the ship. He believes his struggle, his effort, and his fear are heroic. He cannot see that his actions are the only thing creating the danger. He is fighting the ocean. He is fighting the very design of the ship. He is trying to force a reality of safety while embodying the pure, unadulterated vibration of terror. This is the vibrational truth of trying. When you are trying to get something, you are screaming into the resonant chamber of the universe that you do not have it. The feeling beneath trying is lack. When you are trying to control an outcome, you are broadcasting a powerful signal of distrust in the fundamental intelligence and goodness of life. The feeling beneath control is fear. Worry is one of the most powerful forms of negative manifestation. It is the act of using your divine imagination to meticulously and with great emotional intensity create a future you do not want. It is a prayer for chaos. The universe, the great ocean, does not hear the captain's stated destination. It cannot. It only feels the violent lurching of the ship, the desperate screaming from the foghorn, the frantic energy of a being at war with itself. And as a perfect mirror, it reflects that chaos back to you. It sends more storms, more rogue waves, more reasons for the captain to believe his panic is justified. You cannot fight the trying mind and win. To fight it is to become it. To engage it in an argument is to give it more power. You cannot outthink a system whose very nature is thinking. The solution is not to stage a mutiny and throw the captain overboard. He is a part of you, and his intention, however misguided, is to protect you. The solution is gentler and far more powerful. It is to persuade the captain to take his hands off the wheel, just for a moment, to convince him to stop shouting, to stop blasting the horn, and to simply stand still in the wheelhouse and listen, to be quiet. What would happen in that quiet? For the first time, he might feel the steady, powerful hum of the ship's engines. He might feel the gentle, insistent pull of the deep ocean current. And if he dares to look, he will see the needle of the inner compass, calm and unwavering, pointing toward a destination he never could have found on his old maps. He would discover that the ship knows the way. It has always known the way. All his noise, all his effort, was preventing him from realizing it. That quiet space, that silent stillness beneath the captain's frantic monologue, is our next destination. It is the birthplace of all true creation. The captain is quiet. His hands have fallen away from the wheel. The frantic shouting has subsided, and in its place, there is a silence. At first, this silence may feel empty, uncomfortable, even alarming. The trying mind abhors a vacuum. Its very identity is woven from noise, and in the absence of that noise, it can feel like a kind of death. But I invite you to stay here, in this quiet, just for a moment longer, because this silence is not empty. It is not a void. It is the most vital, intelligent, and powerful dimension of your being. It is the space between your thoughts, and learning to access it, to rest in it, is the single most profound shift you will ever make. It is the journey from thinking to awareness, from being a prisoner of your mind to realizing you are the master of it. For your entire life, you have experienced a near constant stream of inner chatter, a river of thoughts, memories, judgments, and images flowing ceaselessly through your consciousness. We take this for granted. We assume this river is who we are. We identify with every eddy, every current, every piece of debris that floats by. If a thought of sadness appears, we say, "I am sad." If a thought of fear floats past, we say, "I am afraid." If a memory of failure surfaces, we say, "I am a failure." We have mistaken the relentless commentary for the commentator, the movie for the screen on which it plays. Let us now embrace a new metaphor, one that will serve as your anchor through this entire journey. Your thoughts, all of them, are like clouds. The mind is a relentless cloud-generating machine. Some clouds are dark and heavy with rain, filled with the energy of anger, grief, or despair. Others are light, white, and wispy, like fleeting moments of joy or trivial daydreams. Some are vast, dramatic, towering thunderheads. These are your big life stories, the core narratives of your identity. They drift across the inner landscape of your awareness, constantly changing, merging, and dissolving. They are, by their very nature, impermanent and insubstantial. Now, look beyond the clouds. What is it that holds them? What is it that allows them to be, to float, to pass, without ever being affected by them? The sky. The sky is the consciousness that perceives the clouds. The sky is vast, open, and eternally silent. It is not stained by the darkest storm cloud. It is not improved by the most beautiful sunset cloud. It is simply there, unchanging, ever-present, peaceful. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. This is the great truth that has been forgotten. The entire human drama, the suffering, the striving, the sense of lack, comes from one simple case of mistaken identity. You have believed yourself to be the fleeting cloud, when all along you have been the boundless sky. So how do you reclaim this realization? How do you experience your own skyness? You do not do it by trying to stop the clouds. Trying to suppress your thoughts is a futile battle that only creates more clouds, more mental turmoil. The trying mind loves to be given the problem of how to stop thinking. It's just another form of noise. The path is far more gentle. It is not one of suppression, but of observation. You begin to watch the clouds. You become a sky watcher. And more specifically, you begin to look for the patches of blue sky between the clouds. These are the spaces between your thoughts. At first, you may not notice any. The clouds of your thinking may seem like a solid, impenetrable gray overcast. This is normal. Your watcher muscle is weak from a lifetime of disuse. But with gentle persistence, you will begin to notice them. A half-second gap after one thought ends and before the next one begins. A tiny pause, a momentary stillness. The practice is simply to notice these gaps, to value them, to turn your attention toward them. How? The simplest way is to anchor your attention in the present moment, for thought cannot survive in the pure now. You can bring your awareness to your breath. Feel the physical sensation of the air moving into your body and the sensation of it leaving. Just the raw, physical feeling without the label breathing. The breath has no opinion. It is not worried about next month's bills. It is always, only, happening right now. In the moment, You are fully focused on the sensation of your breath. You are not thinking. You have found a space. You can also anchor yourself in your senses. Close your eyes and just listen. What can you hear? Don't label the soundscar, bird, refrigerator, hum. Just allow the raw vibrations of sound to enter your awareness. Become a field of listening. In that pure listening, the thinking mind subsides. Or feel the inner energy field of your body. Can you feel the aliveness in your hands without moving them? A faint tingling or vibration? That is the feeling of life itself, your direct connection to the universal hum. It is a portal to presence. When you focus on that inner energy, you are home. You are in the space. The goal is not to achieve a state of permanent, thought-free bliss. The clouds will always come and go. The goal is to change your relationship with them. Every time you are lost in a storm of anxious thoughts and you suddenly realize, I am thinking again, that moment of realization is a victory. That is the sky remembering itself. In that instant, you are no longer the cloud. You are the sky that is aware of the cloud. You have disidentified. You have stepped out of the river of thought and are now sitting peacefully on its bank, watching it flow by. With practice, the gaps become more frequent. The sky becomes more apparent. You begin to find a deep, unshakable peace that exists right here, underneath the surface noise of your life. This space between thoughts is not just a peaceful refuge. It is the very womb of creation. The trying mind, the captain, can only work with what is already known. It can only rearrange the old furniture of your past experiences and beliefs. But the space, the stillness, is a direct portal to the universal intelligence. True inspiration, creative breakthroughs, and elegant solutions to complex problems never come from a mind that is churning with effort. They emerge, fully formed, from the silence. They are whispered from the sky, not manufactured by the clouds. Furthermore, this space is the point of your true power to create your reality. When you are identified with thought, you are constantly broadcasting the frequencies of those thoughts: worry, doubt, lack. But in the silent space of being, you are a clean slate. You are pure potential. Your vibration is neutral, calm, and receptive. It is from this state of pure awareness, this connection to the sky, that you can then gently, intentionally introduce the feeling tone of your desire. You can feel the feeling of peace, of love, of wholeness, without the trying mind immediately jumping in to say, "But that's not true. Look at the evidence." In the space, there is no argument. There is only being. And what you are, you attract. This realization is the key to freedom. I am the sky, not the clouds. But it brings with it a profound and necessary question. If this is my true nature, vast, peaceful, eternal, why does it feel so alien? Why do I spend 99% of my life utterly convinced that I am the small, vulnerable, passing cloud? What is this powerful force of gravity that pulls my awareness into the drama, that glues my identity to the storm? What is this prison, constructed of mere thoughts, that feels so solid and real? To answer that, we must now turn and face the architect of that prison. We must examine the constructed self. You stand as the sky, vast and aware. Yet you feel the gravitational pull of the clouds, the insistent tug that yanks your attention back into the storm of thought. You have asked what this force is, this glue that binds your infinite spirit to the finite dramas of the mind. This force has a name. Some call it the ego, others the personal self. But for our journey, let us call it the constructed self. It is the identity you have built, piece by piece, since the day you were born. It is the story of me. And this story, which you believe to be your most precious possession, is in fact the blueprint of your prison. It is not an enemy to be vanquished with a sword. It is a ghost to be seen through with the light of awareness. It is a phantom that holds power over you only so long as you believe it to be solid, believe it to be who you are. The architecture of this prison is both simple and profoundly deceptive. Its primary building material is time. The constructed self cannot exist without the past and the future. It is a creature of memory and anticipation. It takes every experience you have ever had, every moment of praise, every wound, every victory, every failure, and it weaves them into a narrative thread. It then holds up this thread and declares, "This is you." It convinces you that you are the cumulative summary of your history, a walking embodiment of your past. This is the first wall of the prison, the belief that you are what has happened to you. The second wall is built of identification. The constructed self is a collector of labels. It clings to them for its very structure. It says, "I am a parent, I am an artist, I am a CEO, I am a victim, I am an anxious person, I am a spiritual person." While these labels serve a function in the world, the ego fuses your identity to them. You cease to be the consciousness that is experiencing the role of a parent. You become the parent. You are no longer the awareness in which anxiety arises. You become an anxious person. Each label is another bar on the window, limiting the boundless view of your true nature. At the very foundation of this entire structure, mortared with fear, lies the cornerstone belief of lack. For almost every constructed self, the fundamental story is one of not enough. Not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough, not safe enough, not loved enough, not whole enough. This core belief ensures the prison is self-perpetuating. It creates a state of constant, low-grade hunger, a neediness that drives you to seek validation, worth, and completeness from the outside world, from achievements, from relationships, from possessions. It keeps you on a treadmill of seeking, forever chasing a feeling of wholeness that it, itself, is preventing you from experiencing. This entire construct, the story of your past, the labels you wear, the core belief in lackeys, what you have come to call myself. Imagine that when you were born, you were handed the first threads of a coat. You were given a name, a family, a culture. As you grew, you began to add to it yourself. A patch for your first success at school, a tear from your first heartbreak, a heavy pocket sewn on to carry a family trauma, a bright button for a moment of praise, a dark stain of shame that you try to hide on the inside. Over the years, this coat has become your constant companion. Perhaps it is a heavy, armored coat of the achiever, designed to protect you from judgment, but restricting your every move. Perhaps it is a threadbare coat of the victim, familiar in its sorrow but chillingly cold. Perhaps it is a dazzling coat of the performer, adorned with false jewels that glitter in the spotlight but offer no real warmth. You have worn this coat for so long, you have forgotten the feeling of your own skin. You have mistaken the weight, the texture, and the smell of this old garment for your own body. You believe you are the coat. The prison is not the coat itself. The prison is your total identification with it, your unawareness that it is merely something you are wearing. The moment you begin this journey of awakening, it is as if a small part of you decides to undo the top button. A cool draft of air hits your skin, and it is terrifying. The constructed self, the sense of me that is the coat, immediately panics. What are you doing? Who will you be without your story of struggle? Who will you be without your achievements to define you? Who will you be without your pain to justify your life? This fear is the voice of the prison guard. It is the feeling of existential vertigo, the fear of emptiness, of being undefined. And so, you quickly do the button back up. You pull the familiar, heavy coat tighter around you. The prison door, which was never locked from the outside, has just been secured by your own hand from within. The constructed self has brilliant survival strategies to keep you from ever taking the coat off. Its primary tool is resistance. It resists what is. If you are experiencing a difficult situation, the ego creates a story around it, full of blame, self-pity, and resentment. This drama reinforces its sense of a separate, victimized me. It also thrives on conflict. It loves to be right. In any argument or disagreement, the ego is not seeking truth. It is seeking to bolster its own position, to reinforce its own reality. Conflict creates a strong sense of me versus you, strengthening the walls of the prison. And most critically, the constructed self cannot survive in the stillness of the present moment. The now is like a solvent that dissolves its very fabric. In the now, there is no past to define you, and no future to worry about. There is only being. And so, the ego's master strategy is to constantly pull your attention away from the only point of power you have, this present moment. It drags you back into the past for regret, or forward into the future for anxiety. Seeing this mechanism is profoundly liberating. You begin to see the constructed self not as you, but as an impersonal process, a conditioned mental-emotional pattern running in your consciousness. You see the coat for what it is, a collection of old threads. So what do? Do you declare war on it? Do you try to rip the coat from your body? To fight the ego is to fall into its most clever trap. To declare war on your story is to create a new, more righteous story. The story of the spiritual me who is at war with my ego. This is just adding another, more elaborate patch onto the same old coat. The way out is not through battle, but through a radical and disarming peace. The escape is not through destruction, but through observation. You do not need to fight the prison guard. You only need to sit with him so quietly, for so long, that he forgets he is a guard and remembers he is also a prisoner. The key is not to tear the coat off, but to become so exquisitely aware of its weight, its texture, its every seam and stitch, that through this intimate knowing, you realize it is not you. This awareness is the key, and the name for this aware, non-judgmental embrace of what is acceptance. You have seen the prison. You have felt the weight of the coat. You recognize the constructed self, with its stories of lack and its foundation of fear. The logical mind, the captain in the wheelhouse, immediately formulates a plan of attack. It declares war. It says, I must eliminate my ego. I must destroy my negative patterns. I must fight my fear. And in doing so, it falls into the most subtle and profound trap of all. To fight your prison is to confirm its reality. To go to war with your coat is to agree that you are, in fact, small enough to be defined by a garment. This war is unwinnable, because the warrior you create to fight the ego is just another, more righteous, more spiritual version of the ego itself. The path to freedom is not paved with aggression, but with a quiet and radical courage. It is the path of acceptance. The word acceptance has been deeply misunderstood. To the trying mind, it sounds like defeat. It sounds like resignation, passivity, condoning a reality you do not want. If I accept my anxiety, won't I be anxious forever? If I accept my financial lack, won't I always be poor? If I accept my loneliness, won't I be giving up on love? This is the voice of fear, a fear that misunderstands the immense power we are about to unlock. Radical acceptance is not resignation. It is the most potent and active spiritual practice there is. It is the courageous act of dropping your inner resistance to what is. It is the cessation of the internal war. It is looking at reality, the situation, the emotion, the thought square in the face, without the distorting filter of judgment, and saying with your entire being, yes, this is here now. Before we can fully grasp the power of yes, we must first become intimate with the feeling of no. Resistance is the default state of the constructed self. It is a constant, subtle, and exhausting rejection of the present moment. Feel it in your body now. Think of a situation in your life that you wish were different. Notice the immediate, almost imperceptible contraction. A tightening in your jaw, a shallowness in your breath, a knot in your stomach, a tension in your shoulders. That physical sensation is the signature of resistance. It is the energetic posture of no. Every time you say this shouldn't be happening, or I can't stand this feeling, you are creating a civil war within your own energy field. A part of your life force is experiencing the unwanted reality, while another, equally powerful part is pushing against it, fighting it, denying it. This internal friction is the primary source of human exhaustion. It is the reason you feel drained, stuck, and powerless. You are spending the vast majority of your creative life force simply holding the line in a battle against your own present moment. Resistance is the ego's lifeblood. It defines itself by what it opposes. As long as you are fighting reality, your identity as a fighter, a victim, a struggler remains secure. You are actively reinforcing the bars of your own prison. Now, let us imagine this differently. An emotion arises. Let us say it is a wave of deep sadness. It is a river of energy moving through you. The conditioned response, born of a lifetime of resistance, is to immediately build a dam. You tell yourself, I need to be strong. I don't have time for this. I shouldn't feel this way. You distract yourself with work, with your phone, with food, with anything to block the flow of this river. Building and maintaining this dam requires a colossal amount of energy. You must constantly patrol its walls, plug its leaks, and reinforce its structure. The pressure of the river of sadness builds and builds behind the wall. You feel this as a growing tension, a nameless anxiety, a sense of impending doom. You may not even consciously remember what you are holding back, but your body knows. It carries the strain. And then, inevitably, the dam cracks. It bursts. This can manifest as a sudden emotional breakdown, an inexplicable fit of rage, or a long, debilitating period of depression. The suppressed energy, denied its natural expression, has erupted in a chaotic and destructive way. Radical acceptance offers a completely different path. It is the wisdom to not build a dam at all. Instead, you walk down to the riverbank. You find a comfortable place to sit, and you watch the river flow. You do not judge the river for being a river. You do not try to speed it up or slow it down. You simply observe it. You say, ah, here is the river of sadness. You watch its currents, its colors, its temperature. You feel its energy move through the landscape of your body, a heaviness in the chest, a wetness in the eyes, but you know that you are not the river. You are the watcher on the bank. You are the vast, open space through which the river is flowing. You are the sky, and this sadness is just a storm cloud passing through. By giving the river space, by allowing it to be, you allow it to flow. And every river, when allowed to flow unimpeded, eventually finds its way to the great calm sea. The energy is honored, processed, and released. It does not get stuck within you. It does not become toxic. It completes its journey. This is why acceptance is the ultimate currency of creation. When you stop fighting the river, when you dismantle the dam, all of that energy you were using for resistance is returned to you. It is a massive influx of pure life force. This reclaimed energy is now available. It is liquid capital in your energetic bank account. You can now choose how to invest it. This is the first dividend. The second is that acceptance dissolves the ego. The constructed self, the coat, is held together by the threads of judgment and resistance. When you look at a part of yourself you previously judged, your fear, your jealousy, your perceived flaws, and you simply allow it to be there without a story. The ego loses its grip. There is nothing to push against. There is no conflict to sustain its existence. It begins to become transparent. This is the power of a simple internal yes. Yes to this moment, yes to this feeling, yes to this reality, exactly as it is. This yes does not mean you will not take action to change your circumstances in the next moment. It simply means that you will not live in a state of war with the moment you are actually in. For you cannot win a war with the now. The now has already won. It is already here. Your only choice is whether to be at peace with it or to exhaust yourself fighting an imaginary battle. So you have sat by the river. You have allowed the storm clouds to pass. You have stopped fighting your coat. You have gathered the vast reserves of energy that were once squandered on the internal war. You are present. You are whole. You are powerful. The war is over, and a deep peace settles within you. But this peace is not the end of the story. It is the true beginning. For the soul did not come here just to be at peace. It came here to experience, to create, to dance. Now that you have this treasure, this reclaimed currency of pure, creative energy, a new and wonderful question arises. What will you create with it? Now that you have ceased to broadcast the static of resistance, what new song will you choose to sing? This is where the journey turns from clearing the old to consciously building the new. It is time to learn the sacred art of feeling what is not yet seen. You have done the courageous work. You have stood on the riverbank and allowed the turbulent waters of emotion to flow by. You have sat with the constructed self, your coat of old stories, and through the power of your awareness, you have realized it is not who you are. The internal war has ceased, and in the wake of this peace, you have reclaimed a vast treasure, your own life force. The energy that was once consumed by resistance, by the endless project of holding yourself together, is now available to you. It is a potent, creative currency waiting for your direction. The peace you have found is not a final destination. It is the clean, fertile ground upon which you will now consciously build your new reality. The journey now shifts from the art of allowing to the art of creating. To create, you must learn to speak the native language of the universe. This language is not composed of words, nor is it based on logic. The universe does not respond to your affirmations if they are empty shells. It does not grant wishes based on the frantic calculations of the trying mind. The language of creation, the frequency that the great hum understands and mirrors, is feeling, emotion, vibration. This is the secret that has been hidden in plain sight. It is not what you think, but what you feel that blueprints your reality. To think a positive thought while your body is vibrating with the frequency of fear is to send a garbled, contradictory signal into the field of potential. It is like whispering a request for sunshine while screaming a prayer for rain. The universe, in its infinite and impersonal wisdom, will always, without fail, respond to the louder, more dominant vibration. It will always respond to the prayer of your body. For too long, the art of creation has been misunderstood as a purely mental exercise. We were told to repeat affirmations, to visualize what we want, and we did so with the straining effort of the trying mind. We would stand before a mirror and say, "I am wealthy," while every cell in our body hummed with the familiar, gut-level feeling of lack. We would visualize a loving partner, while our heart remained guarded and closed, vibrating with the memory of past heartbreak. This is why so many have been left disappointed and disillusioned. They were performing a script with their mind, while their soul was playing a completely different song. The universe doesn't listen to your script, it listens to your song. The art we are here to master is not the art of thinking positive thoughts, but the sacred art of generating the genuine feeling of the wish already fulfilled. Consider your imagination to be the grand workshop of your soul. It is not a place for idle fantasy or escapism. It is a holographic creation chamber, the studio where the energetic blueprint for your future is meticulously crafted. You, as pure awareness, are the director of this studio. For most of your life, the projector has been running on autopilot, endlessly screening the same old film. It is a documentary of your past, edited by your fears. Its title might be "The Story of My Struggle," or "Why I Never Get What I Want." The characters, the lighting, the soundtrack, they are all based on old evidence. You know this film by heart. You can predict every line. And because you keep watching it, the universe, as the perfect audience, keeps reflecting it back to you as your life experience. The art of feeling the unseen begins with a conscious choice. You, the director, walk into the projection room and you gently stop the old film. You thank it for the lessons it has taught you, and then you shelve it in the archives. Now, you pick up a new reel. This new film is not about the pursuit of your desire. It is a sensory immersion into the reality of it. Let us say your desire is for a life of profound peace. Your job as the director is not to create a film about how you will get peace. It is to create a film that begins with the caption, "Now, the feeling of peace." What does that actually feel like? Go beyond the one-dimensional word peaceful. As the director, you must become obsessed with sensory detail. Where in your body does this peace reside? Is it a warm, expanding sensation in your chest? A feeling of lightness in your head, as if a great weight has been lifted? A deep, cellular relaxation in your stomach and shoulders? Embody that physical sensation right now. What does your world look like through the eyes of this peaceful person? Perhaps the light in your room seems softer, more golden. The mundane sounds of your environment no longer seem irritating, but part of a gentle symphony. What do you smell? What do you taste? Feel the texture of the clothes on your skin, the warmth of a cup in your hands. In this state of peace, these simple sensations become rich and alive. And most importantly, what are the inner conversations of this peaceful you? The trying mind from a state of lack says, "I hope I can find peace someday." The realized self, living from the end, has a different inner tone. It is a quiet, internal whisper of, "Thank you." It is a feeling of, "Isn't this wonderful?" It is the simple, natural, unassuming state of being peace. Your task is to loop this new film, to live inside it, to feel its reality so completely, so consistently, that it begins to feel more real than the circumstances your outer senses are reporting. You must become more loyal to your inner vision than you are to your outer reality. When you succeed in generating and sustaining this inner vibrational state, the universe has no choice but to respond. It will begin to construct what the mystics called a bridge of incidents to lead you from your current state to the physical manifestation of your inner creation. This bridge is rarely what the trying mind expects. It will not be a single dramatic event. It will be a series of seemingly natural and sometimes strange occurrences. An unexpected phone call, a chance encounter with a person who has the perfect information for you, a book falling off a shelf, a sudden, inspired idea that compels you to go somewhere or do something that makes no logical sense. The trying mind will want to analyze this bridge. It will question every plank. It will doubt the destination. It is here that your practice of acceptance becomes crucial. Your only job is to remain faithful to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and to take the inspired steps as they are presented to you, without needing to understand the entire blueprint. You do not question the engineering of the bridge while you are walking across it. You simply walk, holding the feeling of having already arrived on the other side. This is the conscious use of your power. This is the sacred alchemy you were born to perform. It is the turning of your reclaimed energy into the gold of lived experience. It is the highest art form there is. But to be a master director, to craft a film with such clarity and focus that it commands reality to conform, you need the proper environment. You need a studio that is soundproofed against the noise of the outside world and the doubts of the old self. You need a space where the signal you are broadcasting is pure, powerful, and uninterrupted. This sacred studio, this ultimate transmitter for your creative power, is not a place you must go to. It is a place you must find within. It is silence. You have gathered your creative power. You stand within the sacred workshop of your imagination, ready to sculpt the feeling of your new reality. But to do this delicate and potent work, you require a pristine environment. You need a studio, soundproofed from the clamor of the world and, more importantly, from the incessant noise of your own conditioned mind. This studio is not a place you must build or find. It is a dimension you must enter. It has been waiting for you patiently your entire life. This studio is silence. We have been taught to fear silence. In our world, silence is equated with emptiness, with awkwardness, with a lack of activity. We rush to fill every available space with sound, with distraction, with the noise of doing. The trying mind is terrified of silence, for in true silence, the constructed self begins to dissolve. But the silence we will now explore is not empty. It is unimaginably full. It is not an absence, but a profound presence. It is the acoustic chamber of the universe, the primordial stillness from which all sound, all form, all creation is born. It is the canvas upon which you will paint your masterpiece. It is the ultimate transmitter. To understand why, you must first recognize the nature of a noisy broadcast. The average state of human consciousness is one of profound energetic chaos. It is a transmitter sending out 1,000 contradictory signals at once. In a single minute, your mind might broadcast, "I want to be abundant," immediately followed by the vibrational static of a memory of debt. Then, "I want to be healthy," followed by a jolt of anxiety about a physical symptom. Then, "I want peace," followed by a detailed mental rehearsal of a future argument. Your conscious desire is a single, clean note, but it is being broadcast from a station engulfed in static, feedback, and the noise of a dozen other stations bleeding through. The signal that actually leaves your being is a garbled, incoherent mess. The universe, as a perfect receiver, can only mirror this incoherence back to you as a life that feels confusing, contradictory, and stuck. You are trying to send a clear message through a hurricane of noise. Let us refine our metaphor. Imagine your consciousness is a powerful radio, capable of both broadcasting and receiving. For most of your life, your hand has been stuck on the scan button. Your awareness, driven by the restless, trying mind, jumps frantically from one frequency to another. It scans the station of past regrets, then jumps to the station of future worries. It tunes into the station of other people's opinions for a moment, then quickly switches to the station of harsh self-criticism. The sound this radio produces is that unbearable grinding static you hear when you're between stations. It is a noise that is both jarring and meaningless. Now, in the midst of this static, you decide you want to broadcast a clear message. You want to transmit the frequency of pure, unconditional love. You hold the thought in your mind, but you are still scanning. So the signal that goes out sounds something like this: love. But what if I get hurt again, like last time? And what will, my friends, think and am I even lovable enough? The pure signal of love is corrupted by the static of your scanning mind. Silence is the simple, revolutionary act of taking your hand off the scan button. You stop searching. You stop seeking a better station, a more interesting thought, a more pleasant feeling. You simply stop. The frantic scanning ceases, and the static dies down. You let the dial rest wherever it lands, and for a moment, there is a profound quiet. This quiet is the carrier wave of consciousness itself. It is pure potential. It is the clear channel. From this space of inner stillness, your broadcast is transformed. Now, when you gently introduce the feeling of love, that is the only signal that is transmitted. It is pure. It is coherent. It is powerful. It resonates through the field of potential without interference. A signal of this purity and clarity is not a request that the universe might consider. It is a vibrational command that reality must, by law, begin to organize itself around. A clear broadcast receives a clear reflection, but silence is a twofold power. It not only purifies your transmission, it also calibrates your receiver. While your radio is frantically scanning, it cannot hear the beautiful music that is already being broadcast. It is too absorbed in its own activity, too deafened by its own static. It is only when you stop scanning and settle into the quiet of a single frequency that you can begin to receive. The universe is not a silent, empty void. It is constantly communicating with you. The symphony of your desire is always playing. The solutions to your problems are always being offered. The answers to your deepest questions are always being whispered. You have not been able to hear them because you have been making too much noise. By intentionally cultivating moments of silence, whether through meditation, a walk in nature, or simply sitting and breathing for 5 minutes, you are turning down the volume of your own inner monologue and turning up the sensitivity of your receiver. You are saying to the universe, I am finished talking. I am ready to listen. In this receptive silence, insight dawns. Inspiration strikes, not as a product of strenuous thought, but as a gift that arrives in the quiet. The next step on your path appears not because you figured it out, but because you became quiet enough to be shown it. You stop being a frantic broadcaster, constantly shouting your demands into the void, and you become an elegant partner in a cosmic dialogue. You transmit your clear intention from a place of stillness, and then you rest in that same stillness, listening, waiting, and watching for the perfect response to arrive. Silence, then, is not a spiritual luxury. It is a practical necessity for conscious creation. It is the cleansing of the channel. It is the foundation of your power. It is the space where the noise of the constructed self fades and the wisdom of the true self can finally be heard. Now that you have learned the importance of quieting the static, of finding this clear channel, you are ready to perceive what is being broadcast on it. For within this profound silence, once your own noise has subsided, you will begin to detect a new signal. It is not loud, it is not demanding. It is a subtle, steady, and unerring whisper. It is a gentle pull. It is a quiet knowing that transcends all logic. This signal has been broadcasting to you your entire life, but you were never quiet enough to hear it. It is the voice of your soul. It is the needle of your inner compass. You are resting in the great silence. The frantic noise of the scanning mind has subsided, and your inner radio is now tuned to a clear, receptive frequency. In this profound stillness, you begin to perceive it. A signal that was always present, but was forever drowned out by the static of your own thinking. It is not a voice made of words. It is not an argument based on logic. It is a quiet, subtle, and persistent pull, a gentle nudge, a feeling of rightness that resonates deep within your bones. This is the voice of your soul. This is your inner compass. This is your intuition. We have been conditioned to distrust this faculty. The modern world worships at the altar of the logical, analytical mind. We are taught to make decisions based on data, on evidence, on pro and con lists. Intuition is often dismissed as a fanciful, unreliable daydream, a hunch to be regarded with suspicion. But this is a profound misunderstanding. Your intuition is not a lesser form of intelligence. It is a higher order of intelligence. It is a direct line of communication with the vast, holistic consciousness of the universe itself. The logical mind can only see the separate pieces of the puzzle. Intuition sees the entire picture, all at once. The mind operates on the limited data of your personal past. Intuition operates on the infinite data of the universal now. Learning to hear it, trust it, and act on it is the art of synchronizing with the flow of life itself. The first crucial step is to learn to distinguish the quiet whisper of intuition from the loud shouts of the other voices in your head. The loudest voice is often that of fear. This is the voice of the constructed self, the panicked captain in the wheelhouse. The voice of fear is almost always urgent and loud. It creates a feeling of contraction in your body, a tightness, a knot of anxiety. It argues with you, presenting a long list of all the things that could go wrong based on every negative experience you have ever had. It is rooted in the past and projects disaster onto the future. Its signature feeling is anxiety. The second loud voice is that of desire or craving. This is also the ego, but in its mode of lack. It screams, "I need this to be happy. I must have it." It is impatient, demanding, and has an undercurrent of desperation. Its signature feeling is neediness. The voice of intuition is qualitatively different. First, it is quiet. It does not argue or try to convince you. It speaks once, with a calm certainty. It is a gentle nudge, not a violent shove. If you ignore it, it does not get louder. It simply waits patiently for you to become quiet enough to hear it again. Second, its message is emotionally neutral. True intuitive guidance does not come packaged with anxiety or desperate longing. It feels calm, clear, and detached, even if the guidance it offers seems illogical or frightening to the rational mind. There is a sense of peace, of simple rightness, accompanying it. Third, its effect on the body is one of expansion. When you tune into a true intuitive hit, your body tends to relax and open. You might feel a sense of lightness or a quiet hum of resonance. The voice of fear contracts. The voice of intuition expands. And finally, intuition is always focused on the present moment. It will not give you a detailed 5-year plan. It will simply tell you what the very next step is. Call this person, turn left here. Read this page. It trusts that by taking the correct next step, the step after that will be revealed in perfect time. Let us imagine your life as a voyage across a vast ocean. The ocean is the universe, life itself. It is not a random, chaotic body of water. It contains powerful, invisible currents that flow toward your highest good, toward shores of unimaginable beauty and growth. Your logical mind, the trying mind, is a captain with a very detailed map and a sturdy pair of oars. The map is drawn entirely from where the ship has been before your past experiences. The captain believes the only way to reach his destination is to consult this map and row with all his might. The invisible ocean current is your intuition. It is a force of nature, a flow of grace that the captain cannot see on his map. Often, the captain's map says the destination lies to the west, but the invisible current is flowing gently to the southeast, so the captain begins to row. He rows against the current, using tremendous effort, his muscles straining, sweat pouring down his face. He is exhausted, frustrated, and making almost no progress. He curses the ocean for being so difficult, unaware that he is fighting the very force that is trying to help him. This is the feeling of a life lived out of alignment with intuition. It is the experience of constant struggle, of pushing against locked doors, of feeling that the world is against you. Learning to live by intuition is the act of pulling the oars into the boat. It is the act of folding up the old map, and it is the courageous act of raising a large white sail. You stop fighting. You surrender your limited, logical plan. You begin to listen not to your mind, but to the feeling of the wind and the pull of the water. You trust the unseen current. The journey is no longer a battle. It is a dance. The sail catches the wind, and the ship begins to move, effortlessly and gracefully, carried by a power far greater than the captain's own. It may not take you to the destination you had on your original map. It will almost certainly take you to a shore that is far more magnificent, a place your logical mind could not even have conceived of. So how do you practice this? How do you strengthen this connection to your inner compass? You begin, as always, with silence. You cannot feel the subtle pull of the current in the middle of a hurricane of your own making. Cultivate stillness daily. Second, learn to ask and release. Before you go to sleep, or as you enter meditation, pose a question to your deeper self. What is my next step? Show me the way, and then let it go completely. Do not hunt for the answer. The hunting is the mind's activity. Let the answer surface in its own time. It may come as an idea that pops into your head while you are washing the dishes, a persistent feeling you can't shake, or a synchronicity in the outer world. Third, practice with the small things. If you get a gentle nudge to call a friend you haven't spoken to in years, do it. If you feel a sudden urge to take a different route home from work, follow it. Each time you trust a small intuitive hit, and it leads to a positive or interesting outcome, you are building a muscle. You are proving to your conscious mind that the compass is reliable. Finally, learn to use your body as a resonator. When faced with a choice, bring the options into your awareness one at a time. For each one, notice your body's reaction. Does it feel open, light, and expansive? Or does it feel tight, heavy, and constricted. Your body is an infallible lie detector for what is and is not in alignment with your soul. This inner compass is your birthright. It is your infallible guide through the complexities of life, your direct connection to the heart of the cosmos. Trusting it is the ultimate act of self-love. But to truly live this way, to pull the oars into the boat for good and rely solely on the sail and the current, requires one final, profound surrender. It requires you to release your white-knuckled grip on the outcome. It requires you to be okay with not knowing the whole journey, not seeing the entire map. It requires you to let go of your need to control. This act of profound trust, of releasing your grip, is the next great gateway on our path. You have found the silence. You have calibrated your receiver. You have begun to listen to the unerring guidance of your inner compass. You have been shown the next step on your path. And now, you arrive at the most subtle, the most challenging, and the most liberating practice of all. You arrive at the art of releasing your grip. Having clarified your desire, having felt it as real in the workshop of your soul, you must now open your hand and let it go. To the constructed self, this sounds like madness. Let it go? After all this work? Doesn't that mean giving up? Doesn't it mean I don't care? This is the voice of the trying mind, which believes that control is security and that clinging is a sign of devotion. But we are here to understand a higher law. In the economy of the universe, clinging is not devotion. It is a declaration of doubt. Releasing your grip is not apathy. It is the ultimate expression of faith. It is the energetic posture that says to the universe, I have done my part. I have planted the seed. Now I trust you, the divine intelligence, to do yours. My faith is so absolute that I no longer need to anxiously manage the process. It is the profound shift from a clenched fist of fear to the open palm of receiving. Let us first become aware of the energetic signature of clinging. When you are clinging to a desire, you are in a state of subtle, continuous tension. Your mind obsessively circles the how and the when. How will it happen? I don't see a path. When will it arrive? It's taking too long. You are constantly scanning your reality for evidence, for signs that it's working. A positive sign brings a moment of relief. The absence of a sign brings a wave of despair. This entire state is rooted in a deep foundational fear that it won't happen. And because the universe responds not to your stated desire, but to your dominant vibration, clinging broadcasts a powerful frequency of doubt into the field. You are holding the beautiful, clear note of your desire in one hand, and the loud, jarring note of your fear in the other. The resulting harmony is one of conflict and stagnation. There is a profound paradox at the heart of creation. The more you desperately need something to happen, the more you repel it. The vibration of needing is the most powerful affirmation of not having. It is a hungry, grasping energy that creates a vibrational vacuum around itself. True magnetic attraction comes from a place of wholeness, not of need. It comes from the calm, self-assured state of knowing your desire is already yours in the spiritual realm, and its appearance in the physical realm is now a simple formality. Releasing your grip is the act of shifting from the frantic energy of needing to the serene energy of knowing. Imagine you are a gardener. The rich, dark soil is the fertile field of universal consciousness, full of infinite potential. Your desire is a rare and precious seed. Through the art of feeling the unseen, you have successfully planted this seed in the soil. You have done the sacred work of charging it with the energy of your belief and emotion. Now, what does a wise gardener do? A wise gardener understands the laws of nature. Their job is to tend to the overall health of the gardento, ensure the soil remains fertile, to maintain their own receptive, peaceful state, and to provide water and sunlight, to continue to feel feelings of gratitude and faith. Then, they step back. They trust the unseen process of germination. They know that the seed, in the darkness of the earth, is performing a miracle beyond their control. They leave it alone to do its sacred work. But a foolish gardener, a gardener governed by the trying mind, plants the seed and is immediately consumed by anxiety. An hour later, they rush back to the garden and dig up the seed to see if it has sprouted roots. Seeing nothing, they rebury it, now with a feeling of disappointment. The next day, they dig it up again. They worry if the soil is right. They fret that there hasn't been enough rain. They analyze the seed's shell, looking for cracks. By constantly disturbing the seed, by refusing to allow it to rest in the darkness and follow its own intelligence, the foolish gardener kills the very thing they so desperately want to grow. This is what we do when we cling. Our obsessive checking, our constant need for reassurance, our analysis of the how and when it is the energetic equivalent of digging up the seed. We are disturbing the divine process with the clumsy hands of our fear. Releasing your grip means becoming the wise gardener. It means you plant the seed with love and intention, and then you turn your attention to tending the rest of your garden. You focus on cultivating your own state of being, your own peace and well-being in this present moment. You have such profound faith that the seed is doing its work, that you don't need to interfere. You trust that the intelligence that knows how to grow a mighty oak from a tiny acorn is also handling the germination of your desire. This release primarily focuses on two things, the how and the when. The trying mind has a very narrow, logical, and limited idea of how your desire should manifest. It creates a plan based on its past experiences. But the universe is infinitely more creative than your mind. Its intelligence can see pathways, connections, and solutions that are completely invisible to you. Detachment from the how is surrendering your limited plan to the master plan of the cosmos. It's allowing for miracles, for surprises, for a path far more magical than the one you could have strategized. Detachment from the when is releasing yourself from the tyranny of the timeline. Impatience is a form of doubt. It is an insult to the divine process. It's like tapping your foot and telling the oak tree to grow faster. The wise gardener knows that everything in nature has its perfect timing. The seed will sprout when it is ready, not a moment sooner. Your trust in this divine timing is a powerful signal of faith that accelerates the process. So release it. Bless your desire. See it as complete in your imagination. Feel the gratitude of its fulfillment, and then open your hand. Turn it over to the greater intelligence that governs all things. This act of surrender is your ultimate act of power. It is the final, essential ingredient in the recipe of creation. And what happens in the moment you truly, deeply release your anxious grip on a future outcome? What happens when you let go of your regretful grip on the past? Where does your awareness fall? It can only fall into one place. By letting go of the phantom destinations of past and future, you land, fully and completely, in the only time there is, in the only place life ever happens. You arrive here, now, in the living, breathing, vibrant reality of the present moment. And this is where the true alchemy is performed. You have released your grip. Your hands, which were clenched tightly around the phantoms of the past and the illusions of the future, are now open. In that release, you have not fallen into an empty void. You have landed. You have arrived in the only place that has ever truly existed, the only space where life is ever happening. You have come home to the present moment. We speak of the now as if it were a fleeting sliver of time, a tiny bridge between the vast continents of what was and what will be. But this is a profound illusion. The past exists only as a memory trace in your mind right now. The future exists only as a projection, a thought happening right now. All you have ever had, and all you will ever have, is the now. It is not a moment in time, but the timeless space in which moments appear and disappear. This is the sacred ground. This is the point of all power, and learning to inhabit it is the master art of alchemy. For most of human existence, life is lived in a state of perpetual escape from this sacred ground. The mind is conditioned to see the now as either a stepping stone or an obstacle. It is either a means to get to a future moment that we believe will be better, or it is an impediment to that future moment that we must endure. We are rarely ever here. Our bodies are here, but our consciousness, our sense of self, is time traveling. We retreat into the past, wandering the ghostly corridors of memory. We relive old conversations, pick at the scabs of old wounds, or bask in the fading glory of past achievements. We are living with ghosts, allowing the dead past to dictate the feeling of the living present. Or we project ourselves into the future. We live in a world of what if, a phantom realm of anxious planning and wistful fantasy. We are so focused on getting to the next destination that we are completely oblivious to the journey itself. This constant time travel is draining. It scatters your life force across a timeline that doesn't exist, leaving you feeling hollowed out, perpetually dissatisfied, and only half alive. You are a ghost haunting your own life story. Let us see life as a magnificent pearl necklace. Each pearl is a perfect, unique, and luminous present moment. The entire string represents your lifespan. The trying mind, the constructed self, is a frantic and dissatisfied jeweler. It is obsessed with the pearls that are already on the string. It constantly takes them out, holding them up to the light, looking for flaws. This one is tarnished by my mistake. This one is dull because of what they did to me. Ah, but this one was so shiny. Why can't all the pearls be like that one? This is the prison of regret and resentment. The jeweler is equally obsessed with the pearls that are not yet on the string. It worries about their quality. Will the future pearls be as good as the best ones from the past? What if I run out of pearls? I need that one specific, perfect pearl to make the whole necklace worthwhile. This is the prison of anxiety and desire. The tragedy of this jeweler is that in his frantic obsession with the pearls of yesterday and tomorrow, he completely ignores the one single pearl he is holding in his hand right now. He does not see its unique luster, feel its perfect roundness, its cool, smooth surface. The living reality of the pearl in his hand slips through his fingers, completely unappreciated, as he grasps for ghosts and phantoms. The alchemist, the conscious creator, understands the secret. The alchemist knows that the only pearl that is real is the one being held now. They give this one pearl their full, undivided attention. They are not using it to get to the next pearl. For the alchemist, this pearl is the destination. In giving the pearl of this moment their complete presence, a miracle occurs. The ordinary is transformed into the sacred. This is the great alchemy. The simple act of washing a dish, when done with full presence, is no longer a chore. It becomes a moving meditation. The feeling of the warm water, the sight of the soap bubbles, the sound of the porcelainate, all becomes intensely alive. A walk is no longer just a way to get from one place to another. It becomes a sacred communion with the earth, the sky, the air. Every step is a miracle. You are turning the lead of mundane, unconscious existence into the shimmering gold of pure, awakened presence. This now is not just a place of peace. It is the singular point of all power. You cannot act in the past. It is finished. You cannot act in the future. It has not yet arrived. You can only act, think, feel, and create in this present moment. Your vibrational point of attraction is always, only, now. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you are not feeling it in the future. You are generating that frequency in your body now. When you plant your seed of desire, you are placing it in the fertile soil of the now. The present moment is the portal through which the unseen world of potential crystallizes into the seen world of form. It is also your escape from the prison of the constructed self. The ego, your story of me, is made of psychological time. It needs the past for its identity and the future for its salvation. When you become intensely present, the ego begins to dissolve. It cannot breathe in the timeless air of the now. In the now, you are not your story. You are the awareness behind the story. You are the sky, not the cloud. In this moment, stripped of past and future, do you have a problem? A problem is a mind-made story that means you are resisting what is and projecting a negative future. Without that story, there is only this situation, this feeling, this breath. The problem cannot survive in the now. The present moment is not something to be tolerated or endured. It is not a means to an end. It is the prize. It is the destination. It is the entire point of the journey. Life, peace, and all creative power are found here, and only here. And this realization, when truly felt, shines a brilliant and uncomfortable light on one of the most common and delusional narratives of the human mind. If all joy and power exist only in this present pearl, what are we truly doing to ourselves when we constantly whisper the mantra of the unenlightened? I will be happy when. This very phrase is the formula for a life of perpetual dissatisfaction, and we must now expose its fallacy. You have landed in the now, the only place where life exists. You have felt its peace, its power, its profound reality. And from this sacred vantage point, we must now turn our attention to one of the most pervasive and hypnotic spells ever cast upon the human mind. It is a quiet mantra, whispered so often in the privacy of our own thoughts that we have ceased to recognize it as a choice. It is the foundational creed of the constructed self. It is the phrase that promises a future paradise while guaranteeing a present poverty of spirit. It is the great fallacy, I will be happy when. I will be happy when I get the promotion. I will be happy when I lose 20 pounds. I will be happy when I finally find a partner. I will be happy when I have $100,000 in the bank. I will be happy when I am healed. I will be happy when I retire. The scenery changes, but the structure of the trap remains the same. It is a conditional clause for joy. It is the postponement of life. It is the act of placing your own well-being in a locked box, handing the key to a future event, and then waiting, in a state of suspended animation, for that event to occur. This is not a strategy for future happiness. This is a practice for present misery. Let us dissect the energetic mechanics of this spell. When you declare, I will be happy when X happens, you are making a powerful, resonant, vibrational statement to the universe. That statement is not, I am destined for happiness. The statement you are actually broadcasting, the feeling you are embodying in your cells in this present moment is, right now, I am not happy. Right now, I am incomplete. Right now, there is something wrong. You are meticulously practicing the vibration of dissatisfaction. You are becoming an expert in the feeling of lack. The universe, which is a flawless mirror and not a mind reader, cannot hear your words about the future. It can only feel and reflect the dominant frequency you are offering now. And so, it dutifully brings you more circumstances, more events, more reasons to feel dissatisfied and to continue believing that your happiness must lie somewhere else. This entire game is orchestrated by the ego, the constructed self. Its very survival depends on a sense of striving and becoming. If you were to find radical, unconditional peace and happiness right now, without the house being paid off or your body being perfect, the ego's job as the great striver and problem solver would become obsolete. It would face dissolution. So, it creates a moving goalpost. It dangles the carrot of future happiness, just far enough ahead to keep you on its treadmill. The moment you achieve one of its goals, you get the promotion, the initial relief is fleeting. Before the dust has even settled, the ego generates a new condition. This is good, but I'll be really happy when I get the corner office. The game never, ever ends. Its purpose is not to lead you to happiness. Its purpose is to ensure you are always seeking it, and therefore always reinforcing the identity of a seeker, a striver, a being who is not yet whole. Imagine a person who was born in the middle of a vast, warm, beautiful ocean. They are, in their very essence, of the ocean. Their body is composed of its water, but through some strange amnesia, they have forgotten this. They have only heard stories of a mythical, wonderful place called the ocean. and they have decided that finding it is the sole purpose of their life. So they begin to swim. They spend their days and nights swimming frantically, searching for their destination. They ask a passing turtle, "Can you tell me the way to the ocean?" The turtle simply blinks, for the question makes no sense. The person swims past magnificent coral reefs, full of vibrant life and color. These are the moments of simple, present beauty in their life. But they ignore them, because the reefs are not the final destination. They struggle against strong currents, believing them to be cruel obstacles, not realizing the currents are part of the ocean's very nature. After years of this desperate, exhausting search, the person becomes bitter and disillusioned. "I have been searching for the ocean my whole life," they conclude, "and I cannot find it. Perhaps it does not exist, or perhaps I am just not worthy of it." This is the cry of the soul caught in the "I will be happy when" trap. Finally, utterly spent, the person gives up. They stop swimming, they surrender, they simply float. And in that stillness, for the first time, they truly feel it. They feel the water holding them, supporting their body completely. They feel its perfect temperature against their skin. They taste the salt on their lips. A profound realization dawns, not as a thought, but as a total, cellular knowing. My God, this is it. It has been here the entire time. I have been in it, and it has been in me. I was never separate from it. I am this. Your happiness is the ocean. It is not a destination you must struggle to reach. It is the very medium of your true being, your true nature. The sky of your awareness is inherently peaceful and joyful. You have been searching for the feeling of home, when all along you have been the home that is searching. Happiness, therefore, is not a reward you receive for achieving a goal. It is a decision you make about where you will place your attention. It is the choice, in this moment, to withdraw your focus from the story of what is missing and to place it, with your full being, on what is present. This does not mean you become passive or that you pretend problems don't exist. It means you refuse to make your inner state of peace conditional on outer circumstances. You learn to take action when action is needed, not from a place of desperate lack, but from a place of centered wholeness. The actions of a peaceful person are infinitely more powerful and effective than the frantic struggles of a desperate one. The fallacy of "I will be happy when" is the single greatest thief of life. It steals your present moment, the only thing you truly have, and sells you a future that never arrives. To dissolve this fallacy is to reclaim your entire life. It is to stop searching for the ocean and to realize you are the swimmer, the water, and the act of swimming all at once. So how do we begin this practice? How do we awaken to the ocean that is already here? We begin by noticing the water. We start by deeply appreciating this single drop that is already in our hand. The master tool for this awakening, the key that unlocks the felt sense of the richness that is already present, is the conscious and active practice of gratitude. You have unmasked the great fallacy, the lie that your happiness is a future destination. You have seen that the frantic search for the ocean is absurd when you are, and have always been, the ocean itself. You have brought your awareness home to the only place life ever happens, the living, breathing now. The question that remains is how to inhabit this now, not as a brief visitor, but as a permanent resident. How do you anchor yourself in its richness when the habits of the mind constantly pull you toward perceived lack? The master tool, the great anchor, the universal key, is gratitude. But we must immediately rescue this word from the shallow understanding we have given it. Gratitude is not the polite, mechanical thank you taught to us in childhood. It is not merely a social grace, nor is it a mental exercise of listing the things you are fortunate to have. True, deep gratitude is a vibrational statement. It is a state of being. It is the frequency you broadcast when you are in complete, harmonious resonance with the goodness of life. It is the soul's enthusiastic and unconditional yes to what is. Let us examine its power. The frequency of the trying mind is one of lack. Its mantra is, "I need more," or "This is not enough." The frequency of desire, while necessary, can often be tinged with the energy of, "I don't have this yet." But the frequency of gratitude is utterly unique. Its resonant statement is, "I already have. I am already whole. This is enough." And it is wonderful. In the quantum field of potential, where like attracts like, this frequency of wholeness is the most powerfully magnetic force in existence. By genuinely feeling gratitude for the love already in your life, you become a magnet for more love. By embodying gratitude for the abundance you already possess, be it a roof over your head or the air in your lungs, you tune your entire being to the frequency of abundance itself. The universe, hearing your song of enoughness, can only respond by sending you more experiences that match that beautiful melody. The great paradox is this: the fastest path to receiving more is to be unconditionally grateful for what you already have. Gratitude is the polar opposite of resistance. Resistance is a clenched fist, a braced body, a no to reality. Gratitude is an open palm, a relaxed body, a deep and resonant yes to reality. It does not mean you must like every aspect of your life. It means you are choosing to focus on the aspects you can appreciate, thereby amplifying their presence. This is not about spiritual bypassing or pretending problems don't exist. It is about where you choose to place your creative focus. Imagine your life, right now, is a single room. The room contains everything. There are cracks in the wall. These are your challenges, your problems, your perceived flaws. There is dust on the floor. These are the minor, daily annoyances. But the room also has a window, and through this window a beautiful sunbeam is streaming, illuminating millions of dancing dust motes. On the windowsill, a single, simple flower is in bloom. The trying mind, your ego, is a photographer equipped with a special lens. It is a problem-seeking lens. Its autofocus is factory set to lock onto the cracks in the wall. It takes sharp, detailed photographs of every imperfection. It documents the dust on the floor with meticulous precision. It assembles a vast photo album titled, "All the Reasons This Room Is Not Good Enough." It believes its job is to document what is wrong, so that it can then formulate a plan to fix it. This is the life lived through the eyes of the constructed self. The practice of gratitude is the conscious, deliberate act of you, the awareness, taking control of the camera. You override the flawed autofocus. You gently turn the focus ring away from the crack in the wall. You swing the lens toward the window, and you point it directly at the sunbeam. You zoom in. You capture the way the light turns the air to gold. Then you focus on the flower. You see the intricate velvet of its petals, the miracle of its color, the perfection of its form. You are not denying that the cracks exist. You are simply choosing not to make them the subject of your art, the focus of your reality. You are creating a new photo album, a new body of evidence. This one is titled, "The Beauty That Is Already Here." As you fill this album, a miracle occurs. Your entire experience of the room transforms. The room itself has not changed, but your reality within it has been reborn. The more you focus on the sunbeam, the more you notice the warmth it brings. The more you appreciate the flower, the more you become aware of its subtle fragrance. Your state of being shifts. Your vibrational statement changes from, "This room is flawed," to, "This room is filled with light and life." The universe, the great audience of your art, sees the photographs you are taking and says, "Ah, this photographer adores sunbeams and flowers. Let us give them more to photograph." And so, your reality begins to gently reorganize itself around your new point of focus. This is the alchemy of gratitude. The practice, therefore, is to bring this awareness to the smallest, most overlooked details of your life. Go beyond being grateful for your health or your family. Find gratitude for the chair that is supporting you right now. Feel its solidness, its silent service. Feel a wave of gratitude for the heart that is beating in your chest, a miraculous and tireless engine that runs without any conscious effort from you. Feel gratitude for the simple fact of your breath, this constant gentle tide of air that connects your inner world to the outer. Be grateful for the taste of water, for the warmth of a blanket, for the technology that allows you to hear these words. Do not just think the words, feel them. Allow the feeling of appreciation to well up in your chest, to feel like a warmth that spreads through your entire body. This is the feeling that changes your frequency. This is the feeling that makes you a vibrational match for more good. When you commit to living in this state, when you make the conscious adjustment of your lens, your primary spiritual practice, your relationship with life begins to change. It ceases to be a one-way monologue where you are constantly asking, seeking, and striving. It becomes a dialogue. The universe begins to actively participate in your newfound appreciation. It sees you noticing the good, and it begins to show you more. It starts to leave you little gifts, little clues. It begins to wink at you, to let you know that it hears you, that it sees you, and that you are in perfect alignment. These winks, these moments of uncanny timing and meaningful coincidence, are the language of a synchronized reality. And learning to read this magical language is our next great discovery. You have committed to the practice of gratitude. You have begun to consciously adjust the lens of your perception, focusing not on the cracks in the wall, but on the sunbeams streaming through the window. You have started to sing the song of enoughness, of appreciation for the good that is already present in your life. When you consistently hold this resonant frequency, a truly magical thing begins to happen. The universe, which was once a silent mirror, begins to actively engage with you. It starts to respond to your new state of being. It begins to wink at you. It starts to leave you clues that you are on the right path, confirming your alignment in the most uncanny and personal ways. This dialogue, this dance of meaningful coincidence, is the language of synchronicity. We must distinguish synchronicity from mere coincidence. A coincidence is a random, chance event with no deeper meaning. Synchronicity is a coincidence that is charged with meaning. A moment where the outer world of events and the inner world of your thoughts and feelings align in a way that feels too perfect to be random. It is thinking of a long-lost friend, only to have them call you that very afternoon. It is wrestling with a specific question, only to open a book to a random page that contains the exact answer you need. It is feeling lost and asking for a sign, only to look up and see a message on a billboard that speaks directly to your heart. These are not accidents. These are the feedback signals from the cosmos. They are the universe's way of saying, "Yes, I hear you. The frequency you are broadcasting is being received. Keep going." When you enter this state of alignment, the signs begin to appear everywhere. One of the most common ways the universe gets our attention is through repeating numbers. You might find yourself glancing at the clock at exactly 11:11 every day. You may see the number 444 on license plates, on receipts, on street addresses. The power of these numbers is not necessarily in some ancient, mystical code, though many traditions hold such beliefs. Their primary power lies in the simple fact that their repetition is a pattern that breaks through the noise of your ordinary, unconscious thinking. It is a gentle tap on the shoulder from the universe, asking you to pause, to be present, and to recognize that there is a hidden order beneath the surface of reality. It is a reminder that you are connected to a larger intelligence. Synchronicity also speaks through timely encounters and messages. You may be struggling with a business problem, and at a coffee shop, you overhear a stranger's conversation that contains the precise solution you have been looking for. You may feel a wave of doubt about your path, and an email will arrive from a mentor with just the right words of encouragement. The key is the timing. The information arrives at the exact moment it is most needed and most meaningful. It feels like a perfectly orchestrated event, a piece of a puzzle sliding effortlessly into place. Animals and symbols from nature may also become messengers, appearing at significant moments with a frequency that defies probability. For a person grieving, the sudden repeated appearance of a cardinal or a butterfly may feel like a reassuring message from a loved one. For someone embarking on a new venture, the sight of a hawk circling overhead may feel like a confirmation to see things from a higher perspective. This dialogue can also manifest as a state of flow, where life seems to clear a path for you. You hit a string of green lights on your way to an important meeting. The perfect parking spot opens up right in front of your destination. The right people with the right resources seem to show up exactly when you need them. These are not just moments of good luck. This is synchronicity in motion. This is the universe rearranging its physical furniture to match the harmony of your inner state. Imagine you are walking through a vast, dense forest. This is your life journey. For a long time, you have been walking with your head down, lost in the map of your own thoughts, worried about the destination, convinced you are utterly alone. But you are not alone. Walking just ahead of you, always just out of sight, is a wise and silent companion. This companion is your higher self, the universe, the divine intelligence. Knowing that you feel lost, this companion begins to leave a trail for you, a trail of breadcrumbs to reassure you and to confirm you are on the correct path. At first, your head is so full of noise that you walk right past them. But as you begin to practice presence and gratitude, you lift your head. You spot a curious-looking stone, the first breadcrumb. You might dismiss it. But then you see a uniquely shaped leaf a few feet later, and then a brightly colored feather. You realize they are not random. They form a trail. As you start to follow this trail of synchronicities, your entire experience of the forest changes. The feeling of being lost and alone evaporates, replaced by a sense of wonder, curiosity, and playfulness. You are no longer just trying to get out of the forest. You are engaged in a magical game of discovery. You start to look forward to finding the next breadcrumb. You begin to trust that even though you cannot see your companion, you are being lovingly guided. This is how you must learn to treat the signs. They are not there to be desperately hunted, but to be joyfully discovered. A word of caution is needed here. For the trying mind, the ego will attempt to hijack this process. It will want to turn the joyful discovery of breadcrumbs into an anxious, analytical task. It will try to create a rigid dictionary of signs. Seeing a hawk always means this. The number 222 always means that. This strips the magic from the process and turns it into another form of mental control, another set of rules to get right or wrong. The true meaning of a sign is not found in a book or an external system. Its meaning is personal, fluid, and revealed in the moment you perceive it. The primary purpose of a synchronicity is to make you pause. It is a cosmic invitation to stop, take a breath, and ask, what was I just thinking? What was I just feeling? What question was I just holding in my heart? The sign is a direct, real-time response to your inner state. Its meaning is the feeling of resonance, the inner aha, the quiet knowing it sparks within you. To live in this dialogue with the universe is to live in a state of grace. It is to know, not just believe, that you are a part of a friendly and intelligent cosmos that is constantly communicating with you. You have moved from a lonely monologue of lack to a joyful duet of co-creation. But seeing this trail requires a new way of seeing. Your physical eyes are wonderful instruments, but they can only perceive the surface of things. The eyes see a number on a clock. They see a bird in a tree. They see the breadcrumb as just a piece of bread. To perceive the meaning, to recognize the pattern, to feel the significance that requires a deeper faculty of perception. You must learn to look at the world not just with your eyes, but with the eyes of your soul. You are learning the language of the universe. You have started to notice the trail of breadcrumbs, the meaningful synchronicities left for you on your path. You understand that these are not random accidents, but a dialogue. But to fully engage in this dialogue, to read its nuances with clarity, requires a fundamental shift in your mode of perception. It requires you to graduate from looking only with your physical eyes to seeing with the boundless vision of your soul. Your eyes are miraculous instruments, designed perfectly for navigating the world of form. They perceive surfaces, colors, shapes, and distances. They see the world of effects, the world that has already been created. But their perception is, by design, limited to this surface reality. The trying mind takes the raw data from the eyes and immediately runs it through its conditioned filters of judgment, comparison, and past experience. It looks at a bank account statement and sees not just a number, but a story of lack or security. It looks at a human body and sees not a field of vibrant energy, but a collection of perceived flaws or attributes. It looks at a situation and instantly labels it good or bad. This is not pure seeing. This is interpretation. The primary illusion perpetuated by this partnership of the eyes and the mind is the illusion of separation. Your eyes tell you that you are a separate body, distinct from the chair you are sitting on, distinct from the air you are breathing, distinct from the other people in the world. This way of seeing reinforces the ego's core story of being an isolated fragment in a disconnected universe. It sees the world of facts, of what is, and declares it to be final and absolute. But there is another way to perceive, a deeper way, a way that does not rely on the surface of things, but feels into the very heart of them. This is the perception of the soul. The soul does not see with eyes of flesh, but with the inner sense of knowing, of feeling, of resonance. While the eyes see the world of effects, the soul perceives the world of cause. While the eyes see separation, the soul perceives the intricate, unbreakable web of connection that links all things. While the eyes see limitations, the soul perceives infinite, shimmering potential. To align with the universe, you must learn to give more weight to the perception of your soul than to the evidence of your eyes. Let us hold this metaphor. In the palm of your hand, you hold an acorn. Your eyes, and the mind that interprets their data, report what they see. This is a small, brown, hard object. It is insignificant. It is lifeless. Its potential is limited to being, at best, food for a squirrel. This is the reality according to the physical senses. It is a perception based entirely on the current, visible evidence. Now, close your eyes, put the acorn down and shift your awareness. Cease to look at the world of form and begin to feel into the world of potential. Ask your soul to perceive the acorn. What does it see? The soul does not see a small, hard nut. The soul perceives the magnificent, towering oak tree that is holographically encoded within the acorn's very being. The soul sees the vast and complex root system drawing nourishment from the earth. It sees the thick, sturdy trunk reaching for the sky. It sees the 1,000 sprawling branches adorned with a canopy of green leaves, each one a perfect little engine for transmuting sunlight into life. The soul perceives the shade the tree will offer on a hot day, the home it will provide for countless creatures, the beauty it will add to the landscape. The soul sees an entire forest sleeping within that tiny seed. This is the creative principle of the universe. The acorn does not become the oak tree by focusing on its current reality of being small and hard. It becomes the oak tree by surrendering to the powerful, unseen blueprint of its own potential. To manifest the life you desire, you must adopt the perception of the soul. You must learn to look at the acorn of your present circumstances and see the mighty oak of your fulfilled desire. If your bank account is your acorn, your eyes see lack. Your soul must be trained to perceive and feel the reality of the strong, stable, abundant oak of your prosperity. If your current state of health is your acorn, your soul must hold its focus on the vibrant, energetic oak of your perfect well-being. This is not denial. This is a profound shift in focus, from effect back to cause. You are withdrawing your creative energy from validating the current, limited form, and investing it, with your full faith, in the unlimited potential that is waiting to be born. You can practice this perception in your daily life. When you look at the world, soften your gaze. Instead of a hard, analytical stare that separates and categorizes, Look at things with a gentle focus. Try to feel the aliveness that animates the tree in your yard, the pet at your feet, even the person you pass on the street. Sense the invisible energy field that surrounds and permeates all things, connecting them in a single web of life. When you meet someone new, before your mind rushes to label and judge them, pause for a moment. Just feel. What is their energetic signature? Does it feel open, closed, joyful, heavy? This is a form of soul perception. It is receiving information on a much deeper level than the superficial data the eyes can provide. Most importantly, practice this with your own creative visions. When you sit in the silence to feel the wish fulfilled, you are engaging in soul perception. You are looking with your inner eye at a reality that has not yet solidified into physical form. You are seeing the oak tree in all its magnificent detail, while your physical eyes may still only see the acorn. The more vivid, real, and frequent these inner viewings become, the more you are signaling to the universe which reality you are choosing to energize. You are commanding the acorn of potential to begin its miraculous transformation into the oak of your experience. Learning to see with the soul is to awaken from the dream of separation. It is to understand that the world is not a collection of disconnected objects, but a single, flowing, energetic whole. It is to shift your identity from being a victim of your circumstances to being the visionary who perceives and calls forth the circumstances you choose. But this powerful, non-judgmental gaze can not only be directed outward. To become a truly clear and powerful transmitter, you must be willing to turn this light of soul perception inward. You must be willing to look at the parts of yourself that you have hidden in the dark, the aspects you have judged as unworthy, the feelings you have deemed unacceptable. You must be willing to look at the acorn of your own pain and see the potential oak tree of your own wholeness. You must be willing to embrace your own shadow. You have learned to see with the eyes of your soul, to look beyond the surface of things and perceive the unseen potential that lies within. You have practiced this with the world around you, seeing the mighty oak within the acorn. Now, you are invited to perform the most courageous act of all, to turn this clear, non-judgmental gaze inward. For too long, the spiritual journey has been misrepresented as a journey only toward the light. We are taught to focus on love, on joy, on high vibrations, while quietly treating our own darkness as an enemy to be vanquished or a source of shame to be hidden away. But you cannot reach the light by pretending that half of yourself does not exist. To become truly whole, to become vibrationally coherent, you must be willing to embrace your own shadow. The shadow, a term first brought into the light by the great psychologist Carl Jung, is the container for all the aspects of yourself that you have disowned. It is the home of the parts of your personality that your conscious mind, your ego, has deemed unacceptable, unworthy, or unlovable. Within this shadow live your repressed anger, your secret envy, your deep-seated fears, and your unacknowledged grief. But it is not only the negative emotions that reside here. The shadow also contains immense reservoirs of your squandered power. If you were taught as a child that it was not safe to be powerful, your strength went into the shadow. If you were taught that your creative brilliance was foolish, your genius went into the shadow. If you were taught that your vulnerability was weakness, your capacity for deep connection went into the shadow. The shadow is not a cellar of evil. It is a vault of unclaimed treasure, guarded by the dragons of your own judgment. This process of disowning begins in childhood, when we express a natural, raw human energy, a burst of anger, a wave of intense sadness, a bold assertion of our will end. We are met with punishment, shame, or the withdrawal of love. We learn a critical and damaging lesson. We learn, this part of me is bad. If I show this part of me, I will not be loved. And so, to survive, to maintain our connection to our tribe, we perform an act of inner surgery. We take that part of ourselves, that raw energy, and we push it down into the unconscious. We sever it from our conscious identity. We lock it in the basement of our psyche. But what is repressed is not destroyed. It is simply buried alive. And what is buried alive never stops fighting for its freedom. Imagine your psyche as a house. Your conscious personality, the face you show the world, is the clean, well-lit, and tidy living room. It is where you entertain guests. But beneath the living room is a dark, damp basement, and the door is securely locked. Long ago, you locked a child down there. Perhaps it was the child of your rage, or the child of your terror, or the child of your deep grief. You could not handle its intensity, and you were taught that it was shameful, so you banished it. You have tried to forget it is even there, but the child is still alive, and it is desperate for your attention. It bangs on the water pipes. These are your sudden, inexplicable anxieties. It rattles the foundations. These are your self-sabotaging behaviors, the ways you mysteriously ruin good things in your life. It screams in the night. These are your nightmares, your recurring destructive patterns in relationships. The strategy of the constructed self is to ignore the noise from the basement. It turns up the volume on the television in the living room, distracting itself with work, with addictions, with endless doing. Or it tries to reinforce the locks, suppressing the feelings with even more force, pretending the noise does not exist. But this only makes the child more frantic, more desperate, and more destructive. Its banging becomes more violent. The foundations of your house begin to crack. True healing, the path of embracing your shadow, is the act of you, the calm, centered awareness, finally acknowledging the noise. It is the act of taking a candle, your non-judgmental attention, and walking to the basement door. It is unlocking it, and with great courage, taking the first step down the stairs into the darkness. At first, it is frightening. The child is wild, covered in grime, and screaming at you. Your first instinct is to run back upstairs and lock the door again. But this time, you stay. You do not try to silence the child. You do not scold it for making a mess. You simply sit down on the cold floor at a safe distance, and you hold the light of your awareness on it, and you listen. You ask it, "Why are you so angry? What happened to you?" And the child, for the first time in its life, feeling seen and heard, begins to tell its story. It tells you about the time its voice was silenced, the time its heart was broken, the time it was terrified and no one came. You simply listen, with compassion, with understanding. You are not condoning its destructive behavior, but you are validating its pain. As the child feels the warmth of your unconditional presence, a miracle occurs. Its screams soften into sobs. Its violent rage melts into profound grief. It crawls into your lap, and you hold it. You are finally reparenting the abandoned part of yourself. When the child feels safe, heard, and loved, it no longer needs to live in the basement. You can invite it to come upstairs into the living room. This is the act of integration. Your repressed anger is no longer a monster that hijacks you. It becomes the clean, healthy energy to set firm boundaries in your life. Your repressed fear is no longer a source of paralyzing anxiety. It becomes the gift of wise discernment. Your repressed grief is no longer a pit of depression. It becomes the source of your deepest compassion. The energy that was trapped in the shadow is liberated. The child is no longer a demon. It is a vital part of your wholeness. The house of your soul is no longer divided against itself. This is the path to authentic self-love. You cannot love a self that you have fractured into acceptable and unacceptable pieces. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means embracing all of who you are. The energy you reclaim from this work is immense. It is the raw power of your authenticity, your charisma, your vitality. This is the gold that is hidden in the darkness. To embrace the shadow is the ultimate act of inner integrity. It is the journey that makes you truly powerful and vibrationally clear, and it has a profound effect on how you perceive the world. When you have had the courage to go down into your own basement and make peace with your own inner demons, you can no longer judge the demons in others with the same righteousness. When you see someone else acting out in anger, you no longer see a monster. You recognize the scream of their own abandoned child. When you see someone consumed by fear, you recognize the trembling of their own inner exile. your judgment softens into a deep, knowing compassion. This newfound capacity to see the wound behind the weapon is the foundation of true forgiveness, not as a moral duty to be performed, but as an act of profound energetic understanding. Having journeyed into the shadowed basement of your own psyche and met the abandoned children within, you have cultivated a profound and knowing compassion. You now understand that the actions of others, particularly those that cause pain, are so often the desperate cries of their own unhealed, unloved shadows. This compassionate insight is the key that unlocks the door to one of the most misunderstood and powerful acts of spiritual liberation: forgiveness. We must immediately discard the old definitions. Forgiveness is not a moral duty you perform for the benefit of the person who harmed you. It is not an act of condoning their behavior or letting them off the hook. It has, in its purest form, almost nothing to do with them at all. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of self-love. It is a radical, conscious, and deeply personal act of energetic hygiene. It is the decision to sever a toxic cord that has been draining your life force, keeping you tethered to a moment of pain in the past and preventing you from flying into your future. To hold on to unforgiveness, to nurture a grievance, is, as the famous saying goes, like drinking poison yourself and waiting for the other person to die. Let us be clear about the energetic reality of unforgiveness. When you experience a painful event and choose to hold on to resentment, you create an invisible yet immensely powerful energetic cord that connects you directly to that person or situation. This cord is woven from the threads of your own recurring thoughts, your anger, your pain, your desire for justice or revenge. It is not a passive historical link. It is an active channel through which you are constantly pumping your precious creative life force. Every time you replay the hurtful conversation in your mind, every time you feel that familiar surge of indignation, every time you tell the story of your grievance to yourself or others, you are feeding that cord. You are keeping a part of your own spirit perpetually trapped in the past, forever anchored to a moment of powerlessness. This is why unforgiveness is so profoundly exhausting. It is a constant, slow leak of your vitality. Furthermore, it acts as a heavy vibrational anchor. You cannot ascend to the higher frequencies of joy, peace, and abundance while you are chained to the dense, heavy vibration of victimhood and anger. Imagine that when someone harms you, it is as if they have placed a large, heavy, rough-edged stone into your hands. The initial shock and pain is the feeling of the stone's weight. Now, you have a choice. You can look at the stone, acknowledge the pain it represents, and set it down. Or, you can make the fateful decision to place it inside your own backpack and carry it with you. This is the act of unforgiveness. At first, you are acutely aware of the stone's burden. Every step is a struggle. It chafes against your back. But over time, a strange thing happens. Your muscles adapt. You grow accustomed to the weight. You may even forget, on a conscious level, that you are carrying it. But you are left with a chronic, unexplained exhaustion and a deep ache in your soul. The stone dictates your posture. It limits how far you can walk and how fast you can run. The constructed self, your ego, can become deeply attached to this stone. The stone gives it a powerful story. I am the one who was wronged. I am a survivor. My pain is justified. The ego uses the stone as an excuse for its own unhappiness, a reason for its own limitations. I cannot trust anyone because of this stone. I cannot be truly happy because of what this stone represents. The stone becomes a cornerstone of its identity. Forgiveness, then, is not about finding the person who gave you the stone and telling them you no longer mind. It is a deeply personal act that can happen right here, right now, whether that person is alive or dead, sorry or unrepentant. Forgiveness is the moment you decide, for your own sake, that you are tired of carrying the weight. You stop walking. You swing the heavy backpack from your shoulders. You open it. You look at the stone one last time, honoring the reality of your pain and the truth of what happened. You do not deny the stone. You do not pretend it was a pebble. You acknowledge it for what it is, And then, with a conscious act of will, you reach in, take it out, and you set it down on the side of the road, and you walk away. You do not destroy the stone. It remains a part of the landscape of your past, but you are no longer carrying it. The immediate feeling is one of exquisite lightness. Your shoulders straighten. A surge of energy. The energy that was being used to carry that weight for all those years flows back into you. You are free. The cord has been cut. And while we often think of forgiveness in the context of others, the heaviest and most damaging stone in the backpack is often the one we place there ourselves. It is the stone of self-blame, of shame, of regret for our own past mistakes. We are often our own harshest jailers. The same principle of grace must be applied. You must be willing to look back at the past version of yourself, the one who made the mistake, who acted out of fear or ignorance, and see them with the same compassion you learned in your shadow work. See the scared child doing the best they could with the awareness they had at the time. Acknowledge their pain, understand their conditioning, and then offer them your grace. Put down the stone of self-recrimination. Cut the cord that binds you to a version of yourself who no longer exists. Forgiveness is the final act of clearing the vessel. It is the ultimate energetic detox. By severing the cords of resentment that have anchored you to a painful past, you reclaim your power in its totality. Your energy field, once contracted and defensive, becomes open, expansive, and radiantly clear. Your hands, once clenched around old grievances and heavy stones, are now empty, soft, and ready. You have made yourself, finally and completely, available to life. You have prepared the ground, tuned your frequency, and cleared away all the old debris. You are now in the perfect posture to not just hope for the good, but to actively receive it as it flows to you. You are now ready to learn the art of being in a state of active receiving. You have done the deep and courageous work of clearing the vessel. Through embracing your shadow and the profound alchemy of forgiveness, you have set down the heavy stones of the past. You have cut the energetic cords that drained your vitality. You are no longer anchored to a history of pain. You are light. Your energy is whole and present. Your hands, once clenched around grievances, are now soft and open. You have made yourself, in the truest sense of the word, available. The question now becomes, available for what? You are ready to receive. But what does this truly mean? We must dismantle the common misconception of what it means to receive. The trying mind, with its binary logic, believes there are only two states of being. You are either actively forcing and striving, or you are passively doing nothing. To this mind, receiving sounds dangerously like the latter. It conjures images of idleness, of sitting on a sofa and waiting for blessings to fall from the ceiling. This misunderstanding leads to a spiritual dead end. It causes us to either do our inner work and then grow frustrated when the universe doesn't deliver our desires to our doorstep like a package, or it causes us to abandon our inner peace and revert to the old ways of struggle, believing that nothing will happen unless we make it happen. But there is a third way, a path of profound grace and power. This is the state of active receiving. Active receiving is not passivity. It is a dynamic state of alert, vibrant readiness. It is the perfect fusion of inner stillness and outer responsiveness. It is the elegant dance between being and doing, between surrender and participation. You are no longer the frantic captain trying to row against the current, nor are you a passive passenger asleep in your cabin. You have become the wise sailor who has mastered the art of working with the wind and the water. You trust the larger forces to carry you, but you hold the rudder with a light and skillful hand, ready to make the subtle adjustments that keep you in the flow. Let us use a new metaphor to illuminate this state. Imagine that you are the keeper of a magnificent lighthouse, perched on the edge of a vast ocean. The lighthouse itself is your being, your consciousness. The powerful lamp at its very top is your inner state, your vibrational frequency. Your primary and most essential work as the keeper is to tend to this light. This is the being part of the dance. You must keep the lamp's glass clean, maintain your mental clarity, ensure its fuel is pure, nurture your emotional state, and keep its flame burning brightly and steadily. Consistently practice the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You do not aim your light at one specific ship in the far distance, trying to force it to come to your shore. That is the way of the ego. Instead, you simply shine. You radiate your light, the frequency of peace, of love, of wholeness out in all directions, a steady, powerful, and unconditional beacon. The ships navigating the great ocean are the physical manifestations of your desires. The opportunities, the people, the resources, the ideas, those ships that are seeking the kind of harbor you represent, those that are vibrationally attuned to the frequency of your light, will naturally see your beacon and begin to sail toward you. You do not chase them. You do not swim out and try to drag them to shore. You attract them effortlessly by the simple power of your own luminescence. This is the law. Now, here is where the active part of receiving comes into play. A foolish lighthouse keeper would turn on the light, then go to sleep, assuming their work is done. A ship, drawn by the light, might arrive, only to find the harbor unprepared and crash upon the rocks. This is the error of pure passivity. The wise keeper, the active receiver, turns on the light and then goes to the watchtower. They are alert, they are observant, they are ready. When they see a ship responding to their light, appearing on the horizon and heading their way, they begin the next phase of their work. They walk down to the docks. They make sure the moorings are ready. They prepare to welcome the vessel and help guide it safely into the harbor. These are the responsive actions you take in the physical world. To translate this into your life, you spend your time in meditation and gratitude, cultivating the feeling of deep prosperity. This is tending to your light. Then, you get a sudden intuitive nudge to contact an old colleague. That is a ship appearing on the horizon. The active part of receiving is to honor that nudge and make the call. You don't make the call with the needy, grasping energy of, "I need you to give me something." You make it from a calm, centered place of, "I was guided to connect." You are simply readying the docks. You cultivate the inner feeling of loving partnership. This is shining your light. A friend invites you to a social gathering you would normally decline. This is a ship appearing on the horizon. The active part of receiving is to say yes to the invitation and to go with an open, non-expectant heart. You are not going there to hunt for a partner. You are simply making yourself gracefully available to the opportunities you have attracted. The state of active receiving is a state of profound trust. You trust that your inner work is the most powerful work you can do. You trust that by tending to your vibration, you are already handling the most important part of the creative process. And you also trust the intuitive nudges and synchronicities when they appear. You are ready to act, but the action you take now is qualitatively different from the action you took in your old state of being. It is not born of fear or a sense of lack. It is not a struggle. It does not feel heavy or forced. It feels easy, natural, and energizing. This new kind of action, which arises spontaneously from a state of receptive alignment, has a name. It is called inspired action. And understanding the crucial difference between this and the forced action of the ego is the secret to making this dance of creation truly, wonderfully, and permanently effortless. You are now resting in the state of active receiving. You are the lighthouse, shining your inner light with steady, peaceful confidence. You are the alert keeper, watching the horizon, ready to welcome the ships you attract. This state is a graceful fusion of being and doing, but we must now examine the very nature of the doing. For the action you take from this new state of alignment is fundamentally different from the action you were taught to take by the world. To understand this difference is to trade a life of exhausting struggle for a life of effortless grace. We must learn to distinguish between forced action and inspired action. Forced action is the native tongue of the constructed self. It is the tool of the panicked captain who believes the ship will sink unless he is in complete, strenuous control. The source of all forced action is fear. It is the fear that if you do not make something happen, it will not happen at all. It is the fear that you are running out of time. It is the fear that you are not enough and must therefore compensate with massive, relentless effort. How does forced action feel in your body? It feels heavy. It feels like a should, a must, a have to. It is the feeling of pushing a giant boulder up a steep hill. It is draining. The more you do, the more tired you become. It is often accompanied by a soundtrack of anxiety, pressure, and a frantic sense of urgency. When you are engaged in forced action, your mind is in overdrive. It is noisy, strategic, and consumed with willpower and discipline. It is trying to outsmart the universe, to control every variable and mitigate every risk. The energetic signature of forced action is one of struggle. You are, in effect, broadcasting to the universe. This is hard. Life is a battle. You will not give me what I want unless I wrestle it from you. The universe, as a perfect mirror, agrees and says, yes, this is hard, and proceeds to make the process as difficult as you believe it to be. The results of forced action, if they come at all, often come at a tremendous personal cost: burnout, compromised health, strained relationships. You may get the thing you were chasing, but you arrive at the destination too exhausted to enjoy it. Inspired action is the native tongue of the soul. It is the movement of the wise sailor who trusts the wind and the currents. The source of all inspired action is alignment. It arises not from a place of fear and lack, but from a place of trust, wholeness, and connection. It is not a push, it is a pull. It is a joyful response to an inner nudge. How does inspired action feel? It feels light. It is a want to, a get to. There is a sense of excitement, of playfulness, of curiosity. It is energizing. Often, after taking inspired action, you have more energy than when you began. It is the feeling of flow, of being carried by a current greater than yourself. When inspired action occurs, your mind is quiet. There is no frantic strategizing. The step to be taken feels simple, obvious, and clear. It is not something you have to reason your way into. It feels like the most natural thing in the world. The energetic signature of inspired action is one of partnership and allowance. You are broadcasting to the universe. I trust you. We are working together. This is easy and fun. The universe, hearing this frequency, agrees and says, yes, this is easy and fun, and begins to orchestrate synchronicities that make your path smooth and joyful. Let us return to our boat on the river of life. Forced action is the captain who is convinced that his destination lies upstream, against the river's powerful current. He consults his old maps, plants his feet, and begins to row with all his might. His muscles burn, his brow is furrowed in concentration, and sweat pours from his body. He is engaged in a heroic battle against the river. But for all his magnificent effort, the boat barely moves. It may even slip backward, carried by the current he refuses to acknowledge. The captain curses the river, believing it to be his adversary, never realizing his own resistance is the sole cause of his struggle. This is the life of hustle, grind, and forcing your will upon the world. Now, imagine the captain finally surrenders. Exhausted and defeated, he pulls the splintered oars into the boat. He stops fighting. He just sits. He breathes. He listens. He practices the art of being. And he waits. He is not passive. He is alertly still. Then, he feels it. A gentle breeze begins to stir, blowing softly downstream. This is the wind of inspiration. It is a sudden idea. A phone call he feels compelled to make. A book he feels drawn to read. It is an inner nudge, a quiet signal that the time is right. The inspired action he takes is minimal, almost effortless. He does not grab the oars. He simply stands up, unties a single rope, and raises a sail. The wind, the power of the universe, catches the sail, and the boat begins to move. It glides swiftly, silently, and powerfully with the current. There is no strain, there is no struggle. The journey is not powered by the limited strength of his own muscles, but by his intelligent alignment with a force that is infinitely greater. The wisdom of the Creator lies not in learning to row harder, but in learning to recognize the wind. This is the new way you must live. Your primary work is to tend to your inner state, to sit peacefully in the boat. When the wind of inspiration comes and it will you act, you raise the sail. You take that simple, light, energizing step. If there is no wind, you do not row. You rest, you trust, you enjoy the feeling of floating on the water. To force action when there is no inspiration is to go to war with life. To wait for inspiration and then act with joyful trust is to dance with life. The shift from forced action to inspired action is the shift from being a slave to your goals, to being a partner with the divine. It is the end of the belief that your will is the most powerful force in your life, and the beginning of the understanding that your alignment is. When you live from this place, your life itself begins to feel different. The background hum of anxiety is replaced by a quiet confidence. The exhausting strain of the hustle is replaced by the energizing state of flow. You realize that the universe was never your adversary. It was never a battlefield to be conquered. It was always only a dance floor, and the music has been playing all along. You were simply being invited to dance. You have learned to wait for the wind of inspiration before raising your sail. You have begun to act not from a place of frantic effort, but from a place of quiet, joyful response. As you continue to practice this new way of being, you will find that your entire relationship with life itself is undergoing a radical transformation. You are at the precipice of the final, most important shift in perspective. It is the conscious choice to see your existence not as a battle to be won, but as a dance to be danced. For most of our lives, we are conditioned to adopt the mindset of a soldier. We see life as a battlefield. The world is an adversarial place, full of obstacles to be overcome, competitors to be beaten, and challenges to be conquered. We armor ourselves each morning, preparing for the fight. Our language reveals this deep-seated belief. We speak of slaying our goals, crushing the competition, fighting for our beliefs, and winning arguments. The ego loves the identity of the soldier. The soldier is a hero, defined by their struggle, their scars, and their victories. They are always vigilant, always braced for the next attack. But a life lived in armor is a heavy and constricted life. A soldier can never truly rest. They can never be vulnerable. They can never simply enjoy the beauty of the landscape they are fighting over. Their existence is a grim and serious affair, a relentless series of problems to be solved. And the ultimate outcome, even in victory, is exhaustion. But there is another way. It is the way of the dancer. The dancer sees the world not as a battlefield, but as a grand and beautiful ballroom. They see life not as an adversary, but as a divine and masterful dance partner. They hear the music that the soldier is too deafened by the sounds of battle to hear. This is a choice. It is a conscious reorientation from a paradigm of opposition to a paradigm of partnership. You are being invited, in every moment, to step onto the dance floor. Imagine you are at a magnificent ball. The universe itself, the divine intelligence of life, extends a hand to you. This is your dance partner. This partner is a master. They know every step, every rhythm, every nuance of the music that is playing. When the ego, the soldier, steps onto the dance floor, it immediately tries to lead. It has its own rigid, pre-planned routine. It has decided exactly how the dance should go. It tries to force and pull the master dancer into its own clumsy, fearful steps. The result is a disaster. They are constantly out of sync. They step on each other's toes. There is no grace, no flow, no joy. The ego, in its frustration, blames its partner. You are not moving correctly. This is not how the dance is supposed to go. It believes the dance is a failure. Not realizing its own desperate need to control is the sole source of the discord. This is the experience of a life lived through forced action. But the wise soul, the emerging dancer within you, responds differently. It accepts the outstretched hand with humility and trust. It understands that its partner is the master, and the secret to a beautiful dance is to surrender to the lead. This is not the passive, defeated surrender of a soldier laying down their arms. It is the active, intelligent, and trusting surrender of the dance. It is a state of profound attentiveness. Your job is not to plan the next 10 steps. Your job is to stay light on your feet, balanced and centered in the present moment, ready to respond to your partner's guidance. How do you do this? First, you trust. You trust that your partner knows the music and the steps, even when you do not. You trust that even if you are led into a move that feels unfamiliar or surprising, you are being held by a strength and wisdom greater than your own. Second, you listen with your whole body. You feel the subtle pressure of your partner's hand on your back guiding you to turn. You sense the shift in their weight that tells you to step forward or back. This is your intuition in action. You are no longer trying to figure the dance out with your mind. You are feeling the flow through your entire being. Third, you remain flexible. When your partner dips you, you do not stiffen up in fear. You yield, you allow, you trust you will be brought back up. When they spin you, you do not resist. You give yourself to the momentum, enjoying the exhilarating blur. In this beautiful, trusting partnership, something magical occurs. The dance is no longer a one-way street. Your partner does not just lead you, it responds to you. As you relax into the flow, you are given moments to express yourself, to add your own flair, to improvise a step. This is your inspired action. You offer a joyful movement, and the master dancer seamlessly incorporates it into the grander choreography, elevating it, making it part of the beautiful whole. You are co-creating the dance, moment by moment. You are lifted, twirled, and guided through a performance more intricate, more joyful, and more breathtaking than anything you could have ever choreographed on your own. When you adopt this mindset, your entire life reorganizes itself around the principle of the dance. A problem is no longer an enemy attack. It is simply a change in the music's tempo. Your job is not to fight it, but to listen and adapt your steps. A failure is no longer a shameful defeat. It is a misstep on the dance floor. You don't storm off in anger. You share a knowing smile with your partner, regain your rhythm, and seamlessly rejoin the flow. A success is no longer a territory to be defended. It is a glorious, soaring lift in the dance, a moment of exhilarating connection to be savored completely, before the music transitions to its next beautiful movement. To choose the dance over the battle is to choose trust over fear, partnership over antagonism, and grace over struggle. It is the ultimate reframing of your existence. And as you become more and more attuned to this dance, as you learn to move in near-perfect rhythm with your divine partner, a final and most stunning realization begins to dawn in the quiet corners of your awareness. You start to feel that the hand guiding your back is not entirely separate from your own. You begin to sense that the beautiful cosmic music you are dancing to is emanating from the center of your own heart. In moments of pure, ecstatic flow, the distinction between you and your partner begins to blur, and you realize that you are not two separate beings at all. You are two aspects of one single consciousness, two poles of one living being, engaged in the magnificent illusion of a dance for the pure, unadulterated joy of the movement. This realization that you and the universe are not, and have never been, separate is the final secret of creation. You have learned to dance with life. You have surrendered the clumsy, fearful lead of the ego and have allowed yourself to be guided by the masterful hand of the universe. You have felt the grace, the flow, the exhilarating joy of moving in partnership with a power greater than your limited self. And in the most sublime moments of that dance, you have felt the line between you and your partner begin to blur. You have sensed that the hand guiding you and the feet following are animated by the same single impulse, the same single life. We have now arrived at the final veil, the ultimate revelation to which this entire journey has been leading. It is the realization that the entire premise of our journey, the idea that you are a separate self who needs to attract, achieve, or align with an outside universe, was a beautiful and necessary illusion. The final truth is this: you were never separate. From the moment of your birth, your physical senses began to teach you the myth of separation. Your eyes showed you a world of distinct objects, of me here and the world out there. Your mind, the great storyteller, took this sensory data and wove the intricate narrative of the constructed self. A small, vulnerable individual fighting for its place in a vast and indifferent cosmos. This entire journey of learning to manifest, to synchronize, to receive, has been a sacred game we have played to gently dismantle that primal illusion. We have used the mind's desire for a process, for steps and techniques, to lead it to a truth that lies beyond all technique. The very concept of attracting something implies a duality that does not truly exist. You cannot attract to you that which is already a part of you. You can only awaken to its presence. Imagine the one, infinite, undivided ocean of consciousness. This is all there is. It is Source, God, the universe, the great hum we first spoke of. Now, rising from the surface of this ocean is a wave. You are that wave. The wave has a unique form, a specific direction, a temporary identity. From its limited perspective, as it looks out at the endless water and the countless other waves, it can easily believe it is a separate and isolated entity. It might look at a larger, more powerful wave with envy, or at a smaller, weaker wave with a sense of superiority. It might fear the day it inevitably crashes upon the shore, believing that to be its end, its death. This is the human condition in its state of forgetfulness. The wave, believing itself to be separate from the ocean, might even spend its entire existence trying to attract more water to itself, hoping to become bigger or more important, never realizing that its entire being is already, and only, water. This journey of awakening is the process of the wave beginning to remember its true nature. At first, it just feels the subtle pull of the deep ocean currents. This is its intuition. It notices the way it moves in rhythm with the other waves. This is its sense of connection, of the dance. It feels the sun warm its surface and realizes this warmth is a gift from something beyond itself. This is gratitude. And then, one day, the final, stunning realization dawns. It is not a thought. It is a complete, cellular knowing. The wave realizes that its waveness is simply a temporary activity of the ocean. It is the ocean expressing itself in a particular way, for a particular time. Its very substance, its essence, its lifeblood is the ocean. It was never separate, not for a single instant. To attract more water is a meaningless concept. To fear its end on the shore is to misunderstand its own nature. For crashing is not death. It is simply a joyful release of form, a returning to the boundless whole from which it will be born again in a new shape. You are the wave awakening to the truth that you are the entire ocean. The love you seek is not in another wave. It is the very water of which you are made. The abundance you desire is not a treasure chest on a distant shore. It is the infinite depth and richness of the ocean itself. The peace you crave is not a calm harbor you must find. It is the serene, silent nature of the deep water that lies beneath the turbulent surface of your thoughts. You can never be separate from what you seek, because you are what you seek. You are the universe, expressing itself as a human being for a little while, for the adventure, for the joy, for the experience. What changes when you truly embody this realization? The frantic energy of seeking ceases. The hungry ghost of not enough is finally laid to rest. The deep existential fear of lack and limitation dissolves. For how can the ocean lack water? How can the universe lack abundance? The desire to create remains, but it is transformed. It is no longer a desperate attempt to fill a hole in your being. It becomes a joyful act of play. It is the ocean deciding to express itself as a magnificent, powerful wave or a gentle, lapping wave for the sheer delight of the experience. You decide you wish to experience creativity, and so the infinite creative potential of your true nature flows through you and expresses itself as a work of art. You decide you wish to experience joy, and so the boundless joy that is your essence rises to the surface of your awareness. You are no longer trying to get anything. You are simply allowing what you already are to be revealed. This is the ultimate homecoming. This is the end of the search. The entire path from quieting the mind, to embracing the shadow, to forgiving the past, to dancing with the present has all been leading you here to this simple, world-shattering truth. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop. You were never broken. You were never lacking. You were never separate. You were only dreaming that you were, so that you could have the exquisite joy of waking up. Let this truth wash over you. Let it saturate every cell. You are home. You have always been home. The words are now fading, for their purpose is complete. The journey of the mind, with its concepts and metaphors, has led us to this shoreline. Here, at the edge of your own vast inner landscape, our shared path comes to an end, so that your own silent, solitary path can truly begin. There is nothing more to learn, nothing more to understand. There is only now a state to be embodied. Look within. See your consciousness as a great, still lake. For so long, the surface of this lake was troubled. The winds of the trying mind whipped it into frantic waves. The currents of fear and doubt churned the waters. The mud of past grievances and future anxieties clouded its depths. And in this state of constant turbulence, the lake could reflect nothing but its own turmoil. But together we have walked its shores. We have calmed the winds. We have allowed the mud to settle. We have invited the waters to grow still. And now, in this moment, your inner lake is like glass, a perfect, silent, flawless mirror. Look up. The entire cosmos is glittering above you. The infinite stars, the silent moon, the vast, deep velvet of space. And the lake? It does not need to strive to contain this beauty. It does not need to perform or to prove itself worthy. It does not try to attract the stars. By its very nature, by the simple virtue of its own stillness, it reflects everything, effortlessly. The universe above and the universe below become one. This is the final secret. Your task was never to chase the stars. It was only ever to still the waters of your own being. The peace, the abundance, the love, the wisdom you seek, they are not distant stars you must travel to. They are the cosmos that has been waiting patiently to be reflected in the mirror of your quiet heart. So let this be the only practice you take with you from this place. Release the need to try. Embrace the power to be. Release the need to chase. Embrace the power to allow. Be still and know that you are everything. The lake, the stars, and the silent space that holds them both. You are that. You are whole. You are home.